wanted something to bring to a party that will just make everybody happy, they bring out Dinstall's. 122 years of cashew crunch, of heavenly hash, of turtlettes, of their award-winning fudge. That's worldwide. It's known that well. Then there's the milk chocolate. It all starts there. There's the double-dip peanuts. And then every fall, those famous chocolate-covered strawberries with that fondant. And they won't tell you what's in the fondant, but it makes it oh so special. And easy to get to. 5 locations. There's where they make the candies in Pleasant View. There's Germantown. There's Collierville. There's even one downtown and in my neck of the woods in Laurelwood. You know what? 122 years made in Memphis and enjoyed by the whole world. Dinstall's.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to get up and get your day started.
Morant. Jawbreaker!
It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
They get up every morning from the alarm clocks, wanting to take the 8:15 into the city. There's a whistle.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. Time for Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd. It's officially the Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024 edition of the program. We are broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Their spring sale continues with factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, patio furniture, and much, much more. Check them out at 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is also brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Currently 73 degrees. Already can feel the humidity. It's early April. This is when it starts to change for me. The cool Christmas in the morning to the humidity. But anyway, today could be nasty this morning. Could be nasty early in the afternoon before things clear out. Possible risk of severe weather. 76 for the high. Thunderstorms are expected this morning. Then partly cloudy during the afternoon hours. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a low of around 45, and then tomorrow looks to be delightful. Up near 57 to 58 degrees, sunshine. That's the way I like it. And then we'll start to heat up even more into the weekend. We'll get back into the 70s. Coming up on the program today, Jeff Crane will join us from the University of Memphis, as he does each and every week, to talk Tigers athletics. That'll be at 8:25. Memphis Tigers quarterback Seth Hennigan will join us at 9:05. We'll talk to Seth about spring ball, his excitement about his senior year, his changing of a number once again for the 4th straight year, but also the offseason as far as the NIL is concerned and things of that nature. As you know, some people thought, well, could he leave? Could he hit the portal? Nope, that wasn't the case. He's back for a 4th straight year starting quarterback for Memphis. We'll talk to Seth about that. And then at 9:25, Parthu Pajai, the Memphis Tigers beat writer for the Daily Memphian, will join us in studio. We'll talk NCAA Final Four and also the offseason for Penny Hardaway and the Tigers. We got Humdinger's Trivia coming your way. That'll be at approximately 8:05, right after the top of the hour break for our second hour today. We got plenty of college basketball news. We got women's basketball galore, including a surprising move as far as coaches are concerned, but also last night's epic battle between Iowa and LSU, and not a bad nightcap after that one between UConn and USC. We'll talk Grizzlies, as the Grizzlies played and won last night in Detroit against the Pistons. We got a little mock draft news. It's all coming up on the program today. And, of course, as always, during our open segments, we'd love to hear from you. You could call in or you could text in anytime you'd like on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines. Call or text at 901-360-8255. That's your lineup for today. Good morning.
Good morning.
That was fun last night, wasn't it, watching the women play?
It was. The Iowa LSU game with all the hype, everything else, was absolutely lived up to the expectations. The first half was incredible. And Caitlin Clark just continues to do her thing. She is she is special, and she is entertaining, and She just continues to deliver every single time.
I don't know if it would have made a difference at all. I didn't like what Kim Mulkey, and Kim Mulkey's a great coach, but I didn't like what she did defensively to try to slow down Clark. She had the one point guard on her who got torched all night long, and then they started to switch late in the fourth quarter. Again, I don't know if that would have slowed down Caitlin Clark, but they should have tried a million different things, and they did not. Clark went for 41 points, hit 9 of 23s, had 12 assists, and 7 rebounds. And for those who have the audacity to say all she does is shoot threes, you're absolutely crazy. You haven't watched 1 second of her playing basketball in college at the University of Iowa. Now, with that said, I picked LSU. I was rooting for LSU. I don't know why. I have nothing against, no qualms against Caitlin Clark. I love what she's doing for the women's game, but really it's for beyond women, right? We are enjoying it as men. We are enjoying it as a society because it's really good basketball. It's high-level basketball. But I picked LSU. I just thought they had too many weapons. I didn't think they got Angel Reese the ball enough. There were too many other players for LSU trying to step up and be heroes. And I know Johnson is incredible, but there were some others that were taking shots that didn't need to take shots. Reese was getting doubled. She was getting tripled at times, so maybe that was the reason. So you give a lot of credit to Iowa and what they did to scheme a defense against Reese. Reese still scored 17 and had 20 rebounds. They couldn't stop her getting offensive rebounds. She had 3 blocks. She had 4 assists. She had 2 steals. She just didn't get enough help. But Iowa was on a mission, losing the national championship game to LSU last year. And while this was only an Elite 8 game and gets them into the Final Four, it's still a nice payback for Iowa as they will move on again into the Final Four. They will take on the UConn Huskies. But, yeah, that was just – I sat, cooked a pizza. My wife's out of town, so I'm not much of a cook. So I had a pizza in the oven, and I sat there and ate the whole darn thing and watched the women's game. I got to be honest with you. I didn't watch the Grizzlies. I watched the women's basketball game, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and again, I don't think. I mean, the pace they played at, the shot making, just the individual talents, everything about it. I mean, even if you don't like women's basketball, you have to enjoy that. I mean, it's a 94-87 game. We're not talking about a 42-40. Like, it is just good basketball. And Clark is as entertaining as any basketball player you're going to find. I mean, she's shooting 30-foot three-pointers constantly. You know, she's pulling up. She's doing step backs. Like,
she's doing Steph Curry stuff.
I mean, everything you like about Steph Curry, Caitlin Clark does it. Like, that's what she does. And she's an unbelievable passer as well. I mean, she throws passes that you just don't even see anybody throw. Like, she is absolutely amazing. And that's why she's so hard to defend. One, I mean, she's doing step back threes from 30 feet away. You're not, like, how are you going to guard that? Like, what are you supposed to do? And then she's such a willing passer and such a good passer that if you run double teams at her, she just finds whoever's open. And they've got other girls who can make shots. And that's really all you need around Caitlin Clark is just threats, just be able to knock down open shots. And they have that on that team. I mean, it is, she's absolutely incredible. It's just they were talking about how she talks about the kind of the weight of the world on her shoulders. Like, to go with the expectations that she has going into every game and seemingly deliver every game. Like, everybody, like you're watching, and she goes and gets 40. Like, she just, like, there's all the pressure in the world, like, for her to go out there and perform. Everybody's tuning into the game, like, because there were a lot of people who had not watched any of the women's tournament, had not watched Iowa. They've heard of Caitlin Clark, and they know all the records she said, but they haven't really watched. And they're like, probably last night we've been like, hey, there's no other stuff really on. They're playing LSU again. Watch this. And she just goes out there and shows them, like, yeah, this is what I do on a daily basis. I make threes from all over the court. I find teammates with amazing passes, and I just score 40 in an NCAA tournament game in the Elite 8 to knock off the defending champions and move on to the Final Four for the second straight year.
the hype is real around her. There are athletes, I don't care if they're male or female, that throughout the course of history, whatever the sport may be, just seize the moment. They deliver all the time. They don't seem to be nervous. They seem to be calm, cool, and collected. You know who those athletes are. She's on that list. She is on that list. Now, overall, is the product of women's basketball, I mean, the hype and some of the stories that are being written are just ridiculous. It's not a great product overall. I'll be honest with you. It's gotten better. But the best of the best in this sport is elite. That is elite basketball. The Final Four will be elite. The USC-Connecticut game that followed was elite. Connecticut winning that game, by the way, 80-73, knocking off the number 1 seed USC out in that region. There used to be 4 or 5 teams that were elite, and you knew the national champion was coming from one of them. There's a lot more now. Now, do I think there are 50, 60? No, I do not, by any stretch of the imagination. And they still do things like up by 14 foul in the final 45 seconds. The women play to the buzzer, I'm telling you. You'll see the men dribble out and they'll shake hands while there's 20 seconds till the women keep fouling. They keep fouling. They never stop. But it's just like when I've done MMA and boxing for years and years and years and years. There's never a dud when it comes to the women. Never. Ever. I'm telling you, every fight I've ever called, it hasn't been a feeling out process. They come out and they start banging right away. And sometimes with the men you have that where there's just duds and they're leaning up on each other and nothing's happening. But the overall product from top to bottom, it's still inferior. So that's why when I read things like, this is a superior product. No, it's not. But these teams that are playing right now are worth your watch because they are elite. And she is the elite of the elite. Now, it's hard to compare her to the greats like Cheryl Miller. And now she's up there. She's with them. Nancy Lieberman, Cheryl Miller, Lisa Leslie, Cheryl Swoops, all of them. Now, some will say she's the greatest. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, as we get into the debate all the time about Jordan versus LeBron or throw in the big O, Oscar Robertson from the 60s and 70s. It's hard to compare decades and eras because Caitlin's shooting the 3, whereas back in the day, the great women's players weren't shooting the 3. But she is a mixture. Seriously, I'm not saying she's Steph Curry or Pete Maravich, but on the women's version, she's a combination of that. As you said, she'll pull up at the logo. She'll make behind-the-back passes, right on the money, mind you. And for people, again, who say, she's one-dimensional, first of all, if she's only one-dimensional and she's making threes from 30 feet, that's pretty good. But she's not. She's far from one-dimensional. And that means to me that you haven't watched her play. So, again, kudos. I can't wait till the numbers are released. I guarantee you, I would be shocked if it's not the most watched women's basketball game in history. And then we got the Final Four still to come. So we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned. Because you got South Carolina and Dawn Staley. You have UConn and Gino Auriemma. You have Iowa. And then you have NC State, which, by the way, isn't it crazy that NC State and UConn both have their men and women's teams in the Final Four?
Yeah, but first time ever that we've had 2 teams, 2 schools that have had both in the Final Four in the same year. Certainly it's UConn is no stranger to this because their women are always in the Final Four, and their men have made their fair share of Final Fours, so it's happened for them. But to have 2 schools do it the same year, I believe this is the first time ever, that's pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, and you have 4 leagues, 4 conferences that each have a men's and women's team in the Final Four. You have the SEC, represented by Alabama with the men, South Carolina with the women, and you have the Big Ten, represented by Iowa with the women and Purdue with the men. And as we talked about, NC State and UConn, ACC, Big East, each have their men's and women's team in the Final Four. So there you go. It's 4 leagues that make up the 8 teams that are in the men's and women's national semifinals. And we'll see what happens for the championship game. But again, when Iowa's playing, all eyes are going to be on Iowa. I'm curious to see what the drop-off was after that game because you did have Connecticut. As you said, Connecticut is a power, and they've been a power for a long time. And I'll tell you where the importance of being in that upper echelon is to some programs, maybe not others who are trying to get to that point, but some. We had the news yesterday of Kelly Harper being let go by Danny White at the University of Tennessee after 5 seasons and 108 wins, which normally would be, oh, she's doing a great job. 20 wins every season, but not at UT. UT, the Lady Vols, are one of those prestigious programs in women's basketball that if you're not making Final Fours, your coach is going to be in trouble. So you see the difference there where UConn continues to make the Final Fours in Gino Auriemma's final years, I would imagine, coaching, whereas Tennessee, after Pat Summitt had stepped down and then subsequently passed away, Kelly Harper, a former player, takes over, does an admirable job for a normal program, but nothing normal about the Lady Vols, and she is let go.
Yeah, couldn't get past the Sweet 16, and that's just not what the Tennessee program expects to be in women's basketball. They consider themselves, and rightly so, one of those elite programs, and Sweet 16s aren't good enough for them. They expect to be advancing further than that. Maybe not every single year, but certainly at least every few years. And she just wasn't able to do that. A couple of texts here on the Sissies Log Cabin listener. David texts in, says, Clark looks like the worst teammate. Her body language is so bad when things don't go her way. Lack of hustle and defense. Oh, well, she had 12 assists. She has the ball in her hands all the time, and they average 91 points per game. It's inevitable.
What a hater.
I would guess this. I don't think there's anybody on her team who would call her a bad teammate. I'm going to guess they all love her and all love playing with her.
Her shoulders have to hurt a little bit, right?
She led the nation in scoring and assists. Like, I don't know what more you could ask somebody to do. It's
true she's not a great defensive player. There's no question about that.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Lisa Bluter probably tells her not to play too much defense because she doesn't want her to foul anybody.
Right.
Like, I would be like, do not foul anybody. Like, whatever you do, like, you do not even think about reaching in or doing anything because we have to have you on the floor for 40 minutes.
I agree.
I mean, so, like, I don't know, like, lack of hustle, like, I don't see any lack of hustle from her. Like, I'm going to guess every one of those teammates absolutely loves playing with Caitlin Clark.
The only thing I would agree on is that she's not that good a defensive player, but you made a very good point about that. As far as lack of hustle, how many times does she beat players down the court? How many times did Iowa beat LSU down the court? That was happening continuously. And who was throwing the ball to her teammates? Full court passes, Caitlin Clark. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I took LSU, but it doesn't mean I don't think Caitlin Clark is an incredible player.
They average 91 points per game because they have Caitlin Clark. She's scoring 30-something and then assisting on another 20 to 25 of those just by herself. Like, that's why they average what they average, is because they have Caitlin Clark to do it.
Look, there's always going to be, and I'm not talking about our texter, but, there's going to be people that just hate the hate. And Angel Reese, when she got mouthy, and she's a very emotional player, people wanted to hate her or have hated her. I love the way she plays. I love the spunk. I love that energy that she brings. Caitlin Clark has that same energy. The best of the best players do that. Yeah, they're going to have times where they fail. And last night, Angel failed. But gosh, bless it. When you want, a rebound on the defensive glass or on the offensive glass, and you want putbacks and you want leadership, you have Reese. And then again, Caitlin Clark, for people to think that she's just a shooter, you haven't watched her. You haven't watched them play.
And Reese certainly was affected by the ankle injury last night. She was a different player after she came back into the game. Just numbers-wise, she couldn't make shots. Now, Iowa did a great job of collapsing on her. I thought the O'Grady girl for Iowa made a huge difference. Like, she doesn't play very much, but they had to go to her because the Stolke girl was in foul trouble. And I thought she was really, really good. And again, they're running they're running 3 defenders at Angel Reese. Like they are going to do it. It's a little easier to do that to a post player who gets the ball than it is to try and run 3 players at Caitlin Clark when you can't chase her down on the perimeter. And again, she's as good as passers as she was. So they made life difficult after Reese got off to the great start, suffered the injury. After that, And those referees let them play. It was a very, they let them bang down there on the block. There's a lot of contact going on, and they let them play on both ends. And Reese struggled just to get any sort of shots to fall after the injury. So, it was a fantastic. And LSU, the third quarter was where the game was lost basically for them. They couldn't make any shots. Nobody could make a shot in that third quarter. The Van Lith girl
was horrible.
Awful. I mean, she had a terrible night, and she's trying to chase down Caitlin Clark on the defensive end. That certainly is not an easy task, but she could not make a shot. She was she had a horrendous night, and it's unfortunate for her to have that night in that setting, but that's it.
Now, Caitlin does do something that most superstars do. She belly aches when there's a call against her. Whether it's a foul, whether it's a travel call, she's arguing or showing distraught, or she's not mouthing off in a bad sense, but, complaining about or saying, what do you mean? You missed that call. So she's just like every other star in the game of basketball that doesn't think they've ever committed a foul or turned the ball over. But that comes with the territory. They lost players from last year. Again, they went to the championship game, lost to LSU. They lost some key players. And they're back in business because of that player. They got some good complementary players. I don't even remember the coach's name, to be honest with you. It's all about Caitlin Clark. It's all about watching that young lady play, knowing that she has the pressure of the world, talking about it, as you just mentioned a moment ago, knowing that she has the pressure of the world, admitting she has the pressure of the world on her shoulders, and still coming through every single time. They may not win the championship, but there'll be a lot of people rooting for her, but there'll be some people rooting against her. And that's the way it is. It always happens. There's always going to be heroes and villains.
Raider Corey says, what an awesome women's doubleheader. I was looking forward to being entertained, and they didn't disappoint. Women's college basketball is here, and the game will continue to grow. They play hard, and they're fundamentally sound, and the credit goes to the coaches. Caitlin, Angel, Paige, and Juju Cardoso all are awesome players, and we'll see them again at the next level. Now, like, as much as, UConn's had their, we don't need any more UConn. Now I want Iowa, South Carolina. Now I want Caitlin versus the undefeated team. I think that's the matchup we need, right? It's like, give me her versus the undefeated team, and let's figure this one out.
I like what Gino said about Caitlin Clark. He said, I don't need her dropping 50 on us. I don't need her dropping 50 on us. And then Kim Mulkey reportedly said in the line, basically the greeting line there at the end of the game to Caitlin Clark, that I'm glad that was this is your last year. We don't have to deal with you again. Now, will it make me want to watch the WNBA? No. But if I flip the channel and I see that her team, which is going to be Indiana, is playing, I'll probably watch. Or at least I'll watch a little bit. But it's not going to make me want to start watching, the WNBA. But right now in college basketball, watching the women play, watching them play at a high level, I love it. I absolutely love it. So here's your Final Four matchups and the lines from Vegas. South Carolina, a 1 seed, against the 3 seed NC State. South Carolina, an 11.5-point favorite. Isn't the NC State men also an underdog by 11.5? Or was that the other game?
No, they're not. I don't think
they're 8.5. Okay. And then 1 seed Iowa is a 2.5-point favorite over 3 seed UConn. So you got the 1 and the 3, the 1 and the 3, your 2 national semifinal games for the women. A couple of other real quick things from the world of college basketball. Then we'll come back. We'll talk Grizzlies. From the coaching world, it's official. Andy Enfield goes from USC to SMU, which will be moving into the ACC. A lot of abbreviations here, a lot of letters. He replaces Rob Lanier. Rob Lanier, who was let go and was a little bit surprised, but you're getting Andy Enfield, so they certainly, I think, stepped up in their coaching game. Rob Lanier's not bad, though. And Rice picked him up just about a week ago, so he'll stay in the American Conference. Also, Steve Lutz becomes the new head coach at Oklahoma State. And from the portal, Vlad Golden is in it. Has to be a big portal because he's 7'1", averaged 15.7 points per game, 6.9 rebounds per game with the Florida Atlantic Owls, possibly on his way to Michigan to play for Dusty May. It's a good possibility, but Vlad Golden will be leaving Florida Atlantic.
And again, Florida Atlantic is heading back to being Florida Atlantic.
Yes. And that's the administration's decision, because they can step up if they want to. They could go out and get funding. I would imagine if they want to build a new arena, there's some deep pockets in that area. It's a rich area of the country. If you want to step up and
just because it's a rich area doesn't mean they want to support Florida Atlantic.
No, they may not. But the way they supported them during the run the last couple of years, I would think that maybe there's a hankering to do so. Again, this is just an opinion. I don't know that for a fact. But I would at least attempt to do that, because they're going to drop into oblivion or drop back into oblivion. And I'm sure they enjoyed the last 2 years, especially last year, making a run.
Yeah, they had a great run in the NCAA tournament. And, again, that happens to a lot of schools who then return to what they were. Like, it's hard to maintain it at those schools. And Florida Atlantic, it was probably going to be impossible to maintain.
It's hard to maintain it if you don't care to maintain it. And so that's what I'm curious about. Again, if you could at least try and fail, that's one thing. If you don't ever attempt, that's another.
This hour of program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. You can go to biggreenegg.com and get all the details about the best grill there is out there. It comes with a lifetime warranty, so it's the last grill you'll ever need to buy. You can check out the egg, all the accessories, plus all their different sauces and rubs and seasoning, everything that they've got. They've got all of that for you at the Big Green Egg at biggreenegg.com. 7 different sizes of the eggs, whatever size you need, they've got you taken care of. Check them out, biggreenegg.com, and also could find them around town here at Ace Hardware locations, Hamilton Fireplace, and more for the Big Green Egg.
W number 25 for the Grizzlies last night. We will discuss that when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you've tried to buy a Rolex watch lately, you know how difficult it is. New models are in rare supply. Some jewelers put you on wait lists. Others make you buy their other jewelry at inflated prices just to be considered for a Rolex purchase. Well, that's all changed now that Genesis Diamonds has arrived. Genesis Diamonds is the premier dealer of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. People who come in are shocked to see Daytonas, Hulks, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejusts, all the hard-to-find Rolex watches ready to wear today. At Genesis, we've used our worldwide connections to find only the first luxury pre-owned Rolexes, immaculate, pristine watches, fairly priced with no strings attached, and with flexible financing options. So enough with the wait list and the retail jeweler games. Get the Rolex of your dreams today at Genesis Diamonds. And if you already have a Rolex and are interested in trading up, we also have Rolex buyers on site every day. Just another example of how we're forever changing the jewelry landscape here. Genesis Diamonds, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Are you someone who tries to drive all distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel or peeks down at it for a glance? Or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, pet parents! With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
DQ presents the sound of BOGO-free Blizzard treats in the DQ app. It's the sound of downloading the DQ app, redeeming the sweetest BOGO-free Blizzard deal, telling all your friends, and heading to DQ. For BOGO-free any-size Blizzard treats only in the DQ app for a limited time. Download it today. At participating locations, limitations apply. DQ. Happy tastes good.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Are you a huge sports fan with always something to say but only a few listeners? Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. That means for 1 hour, you can tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, your favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Orientation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply.
Required orientation is Saturday, April 13th, or you can take it online.
Syntec Premium Full Synthetic Motor Oil is formulated for today's engines. Available only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase. 385 Billmores Parkway coming inbound towards 240. It's finally starting to move around over here on 40 as you come past Warford and Hollywood. Traffic still looks good right now in the Midtown area. 40 East is on the increase across the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in the Memphis area. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:31 the time. We had a no-hitter last night in Major League Baseball. Just, 4 or 5 days into the season. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. Jeff Crane from the University of Memphis at 8:25. Seth Hennigan, Tigers football quarterback, 9:05, and then Parthu Pajai from the Daily Memphian at 9:25. We got Humdinger's trivia as well.
What's crazy is you had a no-hitter in baseball. You had a 50-point game in the NBA. And literally all anybody talked about last night was women's college basketball.
Right.
It's
Thumbs
crazy.
up for the women.
It's crazy to think of that, but that's the Caitlin Clark effect of things.
Yeah, if the Grizzlies, now I am not the guy that has the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5 TVs. I watch one event, and then I'll switch during a commercial, and then I'll switch back. That's just the way I am. I'm old school. No, it's not. I don't want to watch 17 things at once. I don't have the laptop going as well. And I understand people do that. That's fine. I concentrate on the one game. The Grizzlies are playing, meaningless game. Brandon's already been back a couple of games, so that's great news. I've seen that. I wanted to watch the women's game in its entirety, and that's exactly what I did. But obviously I kept up with what was going on with the Grizzlies game, and the Grizzlies get a win against Detroit as they rally from 13 down at the half to win in the Motor City. They'll have another matchup with the Pistons, a rare third matchup against the Eastern Conference team. That'll be this Friday at FedEx Forum. But the Grizzlies get the win as they are now 25-50. with 7 games remaining, and on the road, 17-22. 17 of their 25 wins have come on the road. Jaren Jackson Jr. exploded. Now, I don't know if Jalen Duren getting hurt made a big difference there, but Duren, who's a defensive stalwart, played 5 minutes, the former Memphis Tiger, and was out of the game with some sort of facial injury. But Jackson, 40 points. He did have 7 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. In the fourth quarter, for a while there, it was Brandon Clark and Luke Kennard taking over the game, and then Jaron came back in and hit some big shots down the stretch. They offset Cade Cunningham, who had a huge game with 36 points and 8 assists, had a chance to tie the game in the final moments, but missed an 11-foot jumper, and the Grizz get the dub. Again, 25 wins, 50 losses on the season.
They have now surpassed last year's road win total. Which I know that one of the great historical notes of all time is that somehow this team has more road wins than the number 2 seed in the Western Conference from last year.
No, go figure.
Figure that one out. I don't know what the hell that is or that means. But Jaron was awesome. Do you want him to play center now?
No, I don't.
When he has bad games, you always talk about it, but you don't when he has good games.
Because against any strong center, he has no chance. And Jalen Duren being out, I mean, who knows if he would have went off. James Wiseman played, another former Tiger. He's the backup center. And he went for 10 points and 10 rebounds. But James Wiseman is soft. Jalen Duren is like going up against a piece of iron. I don't know what Tripp would have done. No, I do not want Tripp to be the 5, but that's another story.
I think Brandon Clark looks like
He
looks really good. And he's kind of throwing his body all over the place. Like, he looks like Brandon Clark. You wonder when a guy comes back from that, like, is he going to be hesitant at all? But he does not look hesitant at all. Like, he looks like Brandon Clark, and that's great to see. I mean, that is absolutely fantastic to see him doing the things that he was doing in the past, and that does not seem to be affecting him mentally whatsoever. So that is really cool.
He's showing his hops, 15 points, 7 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds, a steal, 2 blocks. He was a plus 10, by the way. Jackson a minus 13 despite his 40 points. But Clark, yes, that's right now you look at this season, which has been, unfortunately, just a big blah, right? Because of injuries. Not because of bad play or guys struggling. It's because they can't stay healthy. But 3 things have come out of it. 1, Vince Williams Jr., who unfortunately is hurt, but Vince Williams Jr. Number 2, G.G. Jackson. And number 3, now we've had 3 games. Still a small sample size, but I think enough to really come to the conclusion that Brandon Clark is back. So those are 3 positives that have come out of what has been a disastrous season.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, it has been become a year of kind of assessment on those young guys, and certainly some have shown that they are can be key pieces of the future. And then, a guy like Brandon Clark coming back from an injury, unlike the other guys who all got hurt this year. And it's, absolutely fantastic to see just, again, from an injury like that, and especially with only a few games, like it could be very easy to kind of like, I'm just going to take it easy for these few games. I want to get out there, make sure I can do it, but I'm going to take it a little easy and then go into the off season ready to, just trying to get ready for next year. And
right,
he's out there throwing himself around and again, playing like Brandon Clark has in the past. So it's really good to see and happy for him. And anyway, because that's got to be it's obviously a long process and one of those injuries that when it happens, you wonder what the future is and all that stuff. And so for him to get back out there, it's great. On the whole, Jaron center thing, and DeMichael has talked about this, DeMichael Cole, but Taylor Jenkins after the game last night, he said it is really impressive what he's done since probably the middle of January when we made the change, which he means the change of moving Jaron to the center position. They clearly like Jaron at the center position.
No doubt.
And it's going to, and I believe that he will play center next year. Again, I'm fine with it. I want it, so I'm good with that. But I absolutely think their intention going into the offseason is going to be that Jaron is the center. Now, things may work out differently with the draft or where you end up or free agency, all that stuff of trying to put the guys around him, and maybe it works out differently. But I think their full intention is that Jaron will be their center for next year.
I don't think there's any question that that's the route they're going. They're definitely experimenting with it so they can do it. But I just don't like it. I don't like it. I've seen what he's done against the Sabonises, the Jokic's. Now, you're going to start Clark next to him? I mean, are you going to start Santi? I don't think he'll be a starter next year, Aldama. But are they going to bring somebody else in? I don't know. If you're going to have an opportunity. And by the way, Klingon, we were talking about him yesterday. According to Jonathan Gavoni in his mock draft, not that he's the end-all, be-all, but he's moved Klingon up to number 3. And he says he has a chance to vie for the number 1 overall pick, which right now I think most people have Sarr penciled in, Olivier Sarr, as the 1. But Klingon, may be out of reach for Memphis if they want to go in that direction. I don't know. I mean, to me, if they're going to go with Jackson as the 5, I don't know which direction they'll go in the draft. They may end up going with somebody like Austin Reeves, and then Luke Kennard won't be a part of the future because of his contract. I hope they don't go in that direction. But again, you're right.
Austin Reeves.
Not Reeves. What's his name? From Kentucky. The shooter.
Oh, you're not talking about Dillingham. You're talking about the other one.
Yeah, the other. Yeah.
What the hell's his name?
Why do I keep thinking Reeves? Isn't there a Reeves on the team? But it's not him. It's the little white guy.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
Reed Shepard?
Shepard, thank you. Reed. Yeah, Reed Shepard. Hey, man, sometimes.
And it's not Olivier Sarr either. He's in the G League. He played at Kentucky years ago. It's Alex Sarr.
Is that his brother? Are they related?
I don't believe so, no.
Alex Sarr, God bless. But anyway, I think this concerns me to a certain extent. If they're going in that direction, does that mean they'll stay away from drafting a center? Or will they still go out, maybe look for a center in free agency? What would they do? I mean, if you're going to go out and get a veteran center, then they're going to bring him off the bench? Or they're going to try to fit him into a power forward spot and play Jackson literally at the 5, or move Jackson to the 4? And it doesn't look like they want to do that. They want Jackson to be that 5 with, I would imagine, a...
But you can draft a center. You can go get a center, whatever. And in certain matchups, you have that center. And you can move Jaron to the 4. Doesn't mean Jaron has to exclusively play the 5.
Right.
And you can have it. I mean, you have to have a backup. Like, you want to have somebody to back up at the center position too if you're starting Jaron at the center position.
Yeah,
so
but
drafting a center still doesn't become like out of the question.
Do you want to use a draft lottery pick for a backup?
When you expect to be a championship contender, you probably are drafting. You should be drafting a backup.
Yeah, but then where's Clark? I mean, isn't Clark your backup, or are you going to start Clark at the power forward alongside him?
You could, yes.
Now, that's like, I have said that if you have somebody like Brandon Clark next to Jackson, he picks up for Jackson's deficiencies, which is rebounding the basketball most of the time. You would even admit that he's not a great rebounder.
I know.
But if you had somebody next to him that rebounds the basketball, I'm a little more apt to go, okay. But then that takes away from who you have coming off the bench at that position. So are they willing to do something like that, bring in either a veteran big or draft a big, move Clark into that 4? Because Aldama and Jackson together is not the answer. And I don't see Santi starting. I don't even know if I see Santi long-term with the Grizzlies. But I've seen enough games where Jackson, and they've started Laravia next to him, they've started Aldama next to him, they've done all kinds of weird things. I'd like to know what the end-all, be-all would be if you're going to start Jackson at the 5. Like, who's next to him is what's important, because I have seen him go up against Jokic. I have seen him go up against Sabonis. It is not pretty.
John says, good morning, gentlemen. Jaren Jackson Jr. is capable of scoring on any other center in the NBA. However, he is so prone to fouling out of many games if he is the primary center. Well, Jaren in his career has been prone to fouling out of games no matter what. And he doesn't do that nearly as much anymore. But again, no, that's the thing. Like, you put Jaren at the center, it's really hard for any other center in the league to guard him because of his ability to go out on the floor and put it on the floor. And now that he has been much more willing to do that, like that's why I like him at the center position. I think he is a matchup nightmare on the defensive end for centers around the NBA.
Yeah, but I also look at the team at full strength, and you have Ja, who's going to penetrate, get to the hole. He's going to kick it, right? And I guess that's where Jackson gets step out and hit threes, but you also have Desmond Bane, and we'll see if they start Marcus Smart. There's another guy who has the ability to knock down threes. Somebody's got to be in there when they miss to get offensive rebounds and get second-chance opportunities. You don't want to get buried without getting second-chance opportunities, and other teams down at the other end are getting them. So that's one concern for me. That's the biggest concern for me, is not that Jackson can't score on anybody, because he can, and that he can't block shots because he can, and that he can't distribute passes to teammates because he can. He's really good. I don't think he's some bum that's starting. I just don't like that he does not rebound the basketball as strong as he needs to. But if you're going to tell me who's next to him, then maybe I have a change of my opinion. Not that my opinion matters, but for the sake of
that's my
sports talk
point
radio, it does.
For my whole point on it, you always say he can't play center. Well, that's to say, like, we're not going to consider him playing center because you think he's bad at center. Well, no, it's who's next to him.
No, he's bad at rebounding. That's what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm saying.
But you always say, like, stop playing him at center. No, like, it doesn't matter of the position. He's a really good center. Do you need somebody next to him? Yeah, you need whether he plays power forward, you need somebody next to him. You need somebody next to him. But to say, like, oh, he shouldn't play center, well, no, that doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, maybe it's the terminology, okay? The bottom line to me is this. He's not a good rebounder. Everybody knows he's not a good rebounder. And if you don't put somebody next to him, like if you put a thin, weak power forward, who is another guy who steps out and is not a real good rebounder, then who's rebounding the basketball? So if you put somebody next to him who is a great rebounder and really doesn't care to score, because that's what they need. They need that fifth guy. It's like Billy Preston, the fifth Beatle. You need somebody in there that just does the dirty work like Steven Adams did, because Jackson's not going to be one doing the dirty work. Jackson's going to be one of the scorers. So that four, again, you want to label it the power forward, that's fine, has to be somebody in there that'll do that. I would imagine that's the route they're going in, because they realize it. They're basketball people. They know they're going to have second chance opportunities, and not that Jackson can't get tip-ins and things like that, but if he's out there on the perimeter shooting threes, who's inside doing the dirty work, getting the rebounds, who's setting the screens? Jackson's not the greatest screen setter. That's what I'm talking about.
See, and my thing
go ahead, Zach.
So by the way, Olivier and Alex, they are brothers.
Are they?
They are brothers? Okay.
Yeah, they are brothers.
Thank
you.
My thing is you should not pigeonhole him in any position going into the offseason. It should be, the strategy is pair the best player with Jaren Jackson Jr., whether that means Jaren is the 4 and that's the best you can get is the 5.
I buy that.
Or Jaren's the 5 and the best you can get is to make them a pair is a 4. Like, that's all I say. I don't care what. I like him more at the center, but I don't care if he plays the 4. But there should be no thing going into the offseason that says we're absolutely not considering the idea of him playing the 4, or we're not considering him playing the 5. It should be Jaren will play whatever position we deem as best because of the guy we can get to pair next to him, whether that's in the draft, free agency, or whatever. Who can you get that makes the best pair at the 4? And maybe that's Brandon Clark. Maybe it's Brandon Clark is the best you can pair with him, and that's fine too, whatever. Like, those are the things they have to figure out. But going into the offseason, there should be no blinders as to what position Jaren Jackson is. He could be either one of them. Just get the best person next to him.
I could buy that. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back, talk about the no-no from last night. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
The thrill and excitement of the tournament is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook giving new customers a shot to turn $5 into $150 instantly in bonus bets with any college basketball bet. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The code is HERD, H-E-R-D. That's only at DraftKings Sportsbook, and only with the code HERD, H-E-R-D. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Hey, pet parents! With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. Add in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
We see them every day. People driving using their phones. The sneak-a-peeker or the fast scroller who can quickly become the fender benderer, the got-a-ticketer, or the driver who killed someone. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:52. Is that thunder?
Yeah.
Yeah, the weather's coming. The bad weather is approaching. Welcome back to the show. We were talking earlier about the women's basketball scene last night, the great game between LSU and Iowa. We also talked about the firing of Kelly Harper at UT. I just saw this. David Johnson from Rebs 247, who comes on our show a lot to talk Ole Miss sports. Ole Miss got rid of a couple of assistant women's basketball coaches, and they had a really good season, as Chris Ayers and Bojan Jankovic were both let go from the Ole Miss coaching staff. Last night we had a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. The Astros blanked the Blue Jays 10-0, and Ronel Blanco throws the no-hitter. He's a 30-year-old who was making his 8th career start, and he no-hits the Blue Jays. He walked 2 in the game. Again, the Astros win. Blanco, if you had Blanco as the first no-hitter, first pitcher to throw a no-no this year, you probably want a lot of money.
Yeah, he'd never gone more than 6 innings, I believe it was, as a professional. So that one certainly, that's one coming out of nowhere. wouldn't even have been part of the rotation had it not been for injuries that they've got, and goes out and gets the Astros their first win of the year by throwing a no-hitter. So, yeah, it's like, again, wonderful world of sports. You never know on a night-to-night basis what crazy things might happen. And here you got this journeyman pitcher who throws a no-hitter on April 1st.
From the world of football, sad news. Former Colts cornerback Vontae Davis has died at the age of 35. He played 10 seasons in the NFL. He retired. You may recall he was the guy who retired at halftime of a game. Became infamous for that. But he really was a good player for 10 years. Found dead at his grandmother's house in Florida. I haven't heard any news as far as the cause. You start to think, if it's not foul play, which they say it wasn't, could be suicide. So hopefully for his family and his friends and his teammates around the NFL. I listened to Pat McAfee yesterday, who, of course, was a teammate of his with the Colts. Hopefully, they'll be able to, weather through for the time being. Anytime you lose somebody that's close to you, obviously, it's very, very painful. And again, this is a little mysterious at this point, but I'm sure we'll get more information in the coming days. Also, the Rashee Rice story is a little strange. Have they not yet have they not found out yet whether or not he was behind the wheel of the Lamborghini?
They have not talked to him. I don't believe that the lawyer says he is cooperating with authorities, but I don't believe there's been any actual conversation yet with police. So I don't know that they know for sure. At this point, I guess he is just suspected of being one of the drivers, but I don't think they know that for sure.
He leased the Lamborghini, right? It was under his name. He didn't own it, I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't know what, but his name was on it in some way, from what I understand.
Yeah, I want to guess, again, that he was probably driving. I don't know that for sure, but we'll find out sooner than later. The good thing is that I know there was somebody in the hospital, but they're going to be okay, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, there was a couple of people who went to the hospital with minor injuries, but there were no serious injuries from the accident. It was all just minor stuff. There was a few people treated on the scene, and then there was, I think, 2 that went to the hospital, but it was just for minor stuff.
And it could have been a lot worse. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs as the rain comes into the area. And we had rain yesterday as well, but some thunderstorms expected this morning, already starting around where we're located. If you have any issues with your roof, well, you got leaks, you got problems, you got headaches. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084, and Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration will take care of you. They offer financing. They have different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company, work out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that roof fixed or to get that new roof. They do residential and commercial roofing, so this goes for business owners, property managers, obviously homeowners. If you have a leak or any other roofing problem, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof and all their work. Satisfaction guaranteed. That's carpentry work, exterior painting. They can put up fencing and siding, replace gutters, install shingles, rotten wood repair. Whatever you can't do yourself, call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. And don't forget about the $100 referral fee for all new roofs. Again, you know somebody who needs a new roof. They use Pinnacle on your referral. You get $100 for that referral. It's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon today at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe in 2024. We can't wait to serve you.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Here's some hard truth about engagement rings. There are 10 premier designers every woman knows about. They're like the Mercedes or Louis Vuitton of engagement rings. World-class, iconic, quality names. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and these designers are hard to get, and every jewelry store wants them, but very few make the cut. So they have to settle for lesser brands or knockoffs. Around here, there's only one jewelry store that offers these premium rings. It's Genesis Diamonds. Genesis is the only one that made the cut, that meets the highest standards. Genesis is the only store that's allowed to offer these exceptional brands that women really want. Other stores are jealous of this and will try and convince you these are more expensive and try to get you to settle for something else. But the truth is, Genesis has top quality designer rings for under $2,000. It's not about price, it's about craftsmanship and quality and detail and individuality. So don't compromise. Get her a world-class ring she will be proud to wear. Genesis Diamonds on Poplar at Perkins Extended.
Are you someone who tries to drive while distracted by your phone? Someone who props it on the steering wheel or peeks down at it for a glance? Or just scrolls and scrolls? If so, you could be the next person to get into a fender bender, get a ticket, veer off the road, or even cause a crash that kills you or someone else. Enough already. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. We're concerned about the weather as we look at the weather radar right now. Be careful. Looks like some weather is definitely coming our way. A crash being cleared up from earlier Prescott at Kimball Avenue as that traffic already starts to build over here on 240 East up by Poplar. It did the same thing all last week. Again, just be careful here throughout the day in that construction there or that road work they're doing there on 240 East at Poplar. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:04 the time. Hour 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings, the Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, their spring sale continues. Factory direct pricing on just about everything. Check them out at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It is getting nasty out there. It is thunderstorm galore. And if you don't have a thunderstorm in your area, be ready because it's probably coming. We're looking at temperature right now of 73, a high today of 76, rainfall near an inch, and severe warnings, as I mentioned, severe weather warnings are in effect. However, the good news is that it will roll out of the area, and by tonight should be cloudy with the rain gone. Some clouds, but a low near 45. Precipitation, though, out of the area. Then tomorrow we're looking at a high of 58 and mostly sunny. For those who are thinking about tonight's Memphis Tigers Ole Miss Rebels baseball game, it is still on. It's a turf field over at FedEx Park, Adron Fogelman Field. So as long as this nasty stuff is out of the area, which it's expected to be, I'm sure they'll play ball. You can always check GoTigersGo.com for the latest information as far as that's concerned. But hopefully the weather will cooperate. It'll be gone, and it'll be basically dry, and they can play some baseball tonight here in Memphis. In the meantime, it's Tuesday.
Got a big red blob that is moving across the area right now. So be careful out there, folks. If you're making your way into work right now, I would give yourself a little extra time. It's going to be there could be some nasty weather here all over the area over the next, 20, 30 minutes as that big red blob moves through.
Is the big red blob a sponsor of ours, like the Big Green Egg?
No, the big red blob is he's a nasty person.
He doesn't like to spend money in advertising, does he?
He likes to rain on your parade.
He certainly does. But it is Tuesday. That means it's time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. It's an opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's, and I'm looking at humdingersrestaurant.com right now, their website, where you can check out their entire menu from their great appetizers like the Humdinger shrimp or their crab cakes or maybe their wings or the calamari to their salads and their sandwiches like the po' boy sandwiches or maybe the chicken Philly or one of their wraps that you could check out or the black bean burger. They've got all of those. And, of course, all the entrees with the grilled fish options that they've got. So many different things on the menu. And, of course, on Tuesdays like today, it's always Taco Tuesday. That means the chicken and fish tacos are just $2 each. That's all day, each and every Tuesday. On Fridays, they got the special on the crispy fish and chips. If you need an event catered, they can do that, and they got details about catering on the website as well. Again, at humdingersrestaurant.com. That's where you can find it. And where you can find them is at Poplar and Massey. That's where you're going to find all that delicious food. A lot of healthy items on the menu over at Humdinger's as well. So check them out over there. And if you are the first to answer our trivia question correctly, well, then you'll win the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. And you can answer via text on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 901-360-8255. That's 360-8255. Text in your answer. And again, the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdinger's. And here is today's question with the Final Four coming up starting this Saturday and the championship game on Monday. Which two schools have matched up against each other most often in Final Four history? Which two schools have matched up against each other most often in Final Fours? And again, and that includes the championship game as well. Which two schools have been the most common matchup in the Final Four? 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. Text in the answers. Again, I need both schools, not just one, both schools. Which two schools have matched up the most often in the Final Four? 901-360-8255. First correct answer will get the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Jeff Crane will be joining us at 8:25. University of Memphis Deputy AD Seth Hennigan, the Tigers quarterback, will be joining us at 9:05, and then Parth Upadhyay in studio at 9:25. We'll talk NCAA Tournament Final Four and the Tigers as far as Penny and the offseason goes. What's happening? I mentioned Vlad Golden is in the portal from Florida Atlantic, the 7-1 center who was dominant against Memphis and against other teams and could possibly follow Dusty May to Michigan. As far as others are concerned, Memphis's name did come up on the recruiting list for Gibson Jimerson. Remember him from SLU? Yeah, the former St. Louis guard. Had a good season last year, 15.8 points per game, and he is now in the portal as well. But we'll talk to Parth about all things Memphis Tigers basketball.
They were also the kid from Tulsa. They're also another kid. So your whole thing, like, they're not appearing. Yesterday, I think I saw 3 different ones, and all of them had Memphis.
Yesterday was the first day that they really started appearing. What did I say last week? Wait till all these other teams have been eliminated. I said last week, meaning next week, which we're into, you'll start to see the names come up. That's exactly what I said, and that's exactly what's going on. He did not rush to judgment when the regular season ended and all those dudes jumped in the portal the first few days. You didn't see Memphis's name out there. That was my point. I said now he's waiting to see all these names that have come in. There's only 4 more teams that are still alive, and there'll be a few guys from those teams that certainly will jump into the portal. But right now you have everybody else. So now that he's looking at what's available, now the name is starting to get out there. That's exactly what I said. All right, so the Florida Gators are the last team to win back-to-back titles. And that was 17 years ago today that they won their second. Now Connecticut is the odds-on favorite to do it for the first time since 17 years ago. 2023, now 2024 for UConn. And as I said, a favorite, a heavy favorite to win it. As Connecticut gets ready to rock and roll this week, Dan Hurley, who is a hell of a coach and an interesting human being, basically saying that his Connecticut Huskies do not get the praise, do not get the notoriety, do not get the attention that a North Carolina, a Kentucky, or a Duke would get. Yet this is a program that's historic and equates to winning. Connecticut, I don't know if people say it's a blue blood, it's not a blue blood. I don't know where it falls into the blue blood category. But if you're looking at championship programs, Connecticut's right up there with the best of them. So do you believe what he says, or is maybe this something he's using as a chip for his team for more motivation, not that they don't already need it going into the Final Four? Do you think there's some truth to that?
I don't think they are North Carolina, Duke, like those type programs. Yeah, I don't think they get the same type of praise. But I think part of that is that it's, especially compared to North Carolina, but even with Duke as well, going back a little bit earlier, I mean, all of their big time success has been in the last 25 years compared to for where North Carolina
UCLA
again, goes way back, and then and Duke goes back certainly further than that. So I think they just now when you have the success that they have had over that 25-year stretch, certainly you have to be, you're one of the great programs there is. And when you have 3 different coaches who have won national championships, like there's no doubt what the program is and has been and probably will continue to be. But I think because the lack of overall historical success, kind of people don't look. I think a lot of people still kind of look at them as this like flash in the pan type thing, even though again it's been for 25 years that they've been doing it.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that. There are only 15 programs that have won multiple national championships. We're talking about men's basketball here. Only 15 overall. UCLA has won 11. They haven't won since 1995. It's about 30 years, nearly 30 years they haven't won. And, of course, they went on the great run in the late 60s, early 70s with then Lou Alcindor, with Bill Walton, and John Wooden leading the way. Kentucky has 8 of them. They won in 2012, Cal's only NCAA championship. And then you have to go back to 98 before the last one, before that 2012 title. Carolina has won 6. They've had success in this century, 05, 09, and 17. And Duke, similar. They've got 5, one less than Carolina, but 2001, 2010, 2015. Connecticut and Indiana also have 5. Indiana has not won since 87. They have not won in a long, long time. Of course, we remember the 76 undefeated team, that great team, Bobby Knight coaching, 81 and 87. So Bobby Knight and historic Indiana Hoosiers. And we think basketball, right? When we talk about Indiana, it's all about basketball. It's all about basketball at Duke and North Carolina and Kentucky and UCLA. But UConn, you're right. It's almost like it's looked at as this flash in the pan. 99, 2004, 2011, 2014, 2023. And if they win this year, that'll put them at 6. That will tie them with North Carolina, and only Kentucky and UCLA will be ahead of them.
Well, and the thing, and again, with UConn, it's beyond the championship. Like, that's their, like, the Final Fours didn't start till 99. Like, that's their first ever Final Four. Basically, when they go to the Final Four, they win the championship, has been pretty much the standard, other than I think they have one Final Four appearance where they didn't win a championship. But where these other ones, you know, going back to the 60s and throughout the 60s and 70s and 80s and on, they've constantly gone to Final Fours and things like that. So I think that's where, again, UConn to a lot of people is just kind of this, again, like a flash in the pan, even though it is a 25-year stretch, but there wasn't that history going back of even going to Final Fours, let alone winning national championships.
There's not even an argument that they're the greatest program of this century, right? Not even an argument. They got 4, right, and they just missed the 5th in 1999 and could have 5 this year. Yes, Carolina's got 3. Duke's got 3 in this century. Kentucky's got 1. Nothing for UCLA, nothing for Indiana. Kansas has 2. Villanova's got 2. Connecticut's, I don't think there's an argument. You win another one. I don't think there's an argument right now, but they're not looked at it that way. I guarantee you that. When you talk to people who follow basketball and you say, like, real quick, you know, best team since 2000, best team, best program, they'll probably rattle off somebody else before they get to Connecticut. Probably at least one. Oh, it's Duke. It was Carolina. Oh, it's Kansas. It's Villanova. Man, what they do in stores, UConn, and basketball. And that, I'm not even talking about the women in that run with Oriema. Again, they have a men's team and a women's team in the Final Four, just like NC State. NC State may be more of a surprise, but still, they have it. And NC State's got multiple national championships. They've won 2. So they're one of those 15 schools that I talked about. The only school, now there's a few schools that have not been relevant in a long, long time that are on that list of multiple national championship winners. San Francisco, they won in 55 and 56, Bill Russell, the Dons, and Cincinnati winning 2 in 61 and 62. Everybody else, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is 2. 1945, 1946, they're even worse. NC State, though, has not won since 83 in Valvano, so it's been a long time. But Michigan State won in 2000, Florida 6 and 7, Louisville won in 2013, and then I mentioned all the others that Indiana again and UCLA, 2 near the top, 2 blue bloods that have not won in a long, long time. So again, what Connecticut has done, and as you said, Eli, 3 different coaches. Calhoun's won himself, 3 national championships? Yeah, 99, 2004, 2004, and 2011. Kevin Ollie, and now Danny Hurley trying to go back-to-back.
We do have a correct answer in our Humdingers trivia. And let me double check here. I don't believe we have a tie. No, we do not. Yep, we got one winner who got the correct answer faster than all of the other correct answers. The question was, which 2 teams have matched up against each other the most in Final Four action? And obviously, you got to go to the blue bloods when you're talking about this, teams that have been there quite often. Although a lot of people included UCLA in their answer, but UCLA, their most common matchup has been Louisville. They did that 3 times, which is tied for second as far as matchups are concerned. There's a lot of matchups that have happened 2 times. In the teams that have matched up 3 times, Duke and Kansas, Louisville, UCLA, and Michigan State, North Carolina have matched up 3 times each. Those are tied for second. There's a ton of matchups that have happened twice. But there's one that has happened 5 times. And that would be 2 blue bloods and 2 shades of blue. Kansas and North Carolina. First time, 1957. Last time, just a couple of years ago, 2022, that those 2 teams have met in Final Four action. So that is the correct answer. And there was one person who got that faster than the other correct answers. We'll be notifying them and letting them know how you'll pick up your $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. But Kansas, North Carolina, the most common Final Four matchup in history.
And dang it, Roy Williams, a part of that. Did Roy Williams do it for both sides? Did he coach Carolina against Kansas and Kansas against Carolina? I don't know that. I'm just asking that.
I would have to double check to see if he did both sides of it. I'm guessing he probably did, but I don't know that for sure.
Tonight, NIT action, if you're interested. You have the nightcap is Georgia and Seton Hall. The first game, which will start at 6 o'clock, is Utah and Indiana State. Indiana State, which has been a pretty good story, and led by a guy named Robbie Avila. We've talked about him with his big old glasses. There are 4 nicknames that I see listed for Robbie Avila. You and Zach tell me your favorite of the 4.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
We've talked about that one. Yeah, but I'm going to give you the other ones.
They don't compare.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, C-R-E-A-M, for folks listening. Larry Nerd, but they also have an offshoot, Larry Blurred with the glasses. College Jokic. And then the 4th one, Milk Chamberlain, because he's got milky white skin. Your favorite is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Zach?
Yeah, I have to agree.
You going with that one as well? Great nicknames, by the way. People at work on that did a really, really good job. So Robbie Avila and Indiana State, if you're interested, if you haven't had too much basketball here over the last 1,000 days, you can watch a little NIT semifinal action. James Gaddis Jewelers, second hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They are your family's jeweler. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. On a rainy day, that takes away a lot of activities outdoors, right? Until this weather blows through the area, and then you're fine. But this is a good time to go indoors and do something. How about go inside James Gaddis Jewelers and check out what they have to offer, especially if you're looking at popping the question this spring, this summer, maybe Christmas. It's never a bad time, really, to think ahead and to check out what they have to offer. Make sure that James Gaddis Jewelers is one of the jewelers you check out for your engagement rings, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. All their diamonds are independently graded and they're certified. They know there's a competition out there amongst all the jewelers, so they make sure they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. James has been in the business a long, long time. He has the resume. He's a master jeweler. He's a certified appraiser. He's a diamondologist, and he's graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. Family owned and operated, a part of the Memphis fabric. Again, I talk about James Gaddis Jewelers all the time. You can go to the big box stores if you like. You can go to people that you don't know. But James Gaddis Jewelers will treat you like family. If you're looking for that special watch, got a birthday coming up, graduation gift, think of watches, custom-made jewelry, gemstones of all types, plus bracelets, necklaces, earrings, pendants, one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry as well. It's James Gaddis Jewelers with 2 repair experts to help you with your fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing is available. 4900 Poplar in the heart of East Memphis between Mendenhall and St. Nick. Visit them today or go online to GaddisJewelers.com. When we come back, we're talking University of Memphis athletics like we do each and every week with Jeff Crane, Deputy AD. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
There are any number of reasons you might consider selling your home. To move closer to family, live within a smaller budget, or just wanting a change of scenery. Whatever your reasons, having to figure out all the various housing market trends in your area may not be what you signed up for. That's where an agent who is a realtor comes in. Realtors have the expertise to help you find the right price and navigate the process to sell your home in a way that's right for you. That's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
KFC's new Saucy Nuggets are here to show you what it really means to have the sauce. These juicy hand-breaded nuggets come drenched and dripping. Get the real sauce. Try KFC's new Saucy Nuggets, available in Nashville Hot, Georgia Gold, Honey Sriracha, Korean Barbecue, or Sticky Chicken. Dripping in flavor. 10 pieces for just $5.99. Only at KFC. It's finger-licking good. Prices and participation may vary. Tax, tip, and fees extra.
Are you aware? It's patio season. Family Leisure sure is. That's why they have factory direct pricing on swimming pools, spas, and even, yes, patio furniture. Yes, sir, it's indeed patio season. So come by Family Leisure and check out all the brand new 2024 patio furniture sets. And with patio season here, you know that pool season will be here before you even know it. So buy now to get in line for your pool installation and get pre-season pricing. Plus, you could save $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, even up to $5,000 on all spas and swim spas. Family Leisure has got special pricing on all in-stock saunas, theater seating, pool tables, and even outdoor kitchens. I love it when it's patio season because of all the fantastic deals that Family Leisure makes available just for you. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. We got some severe weather moving through our area. Please be careful out here. It is just packed in there pretty good on 240 East and West. Over here at Poplar Walnut Grove, it was already slowing down. Now this rain that's moving through has slowed all the major routes down even more so. Please use caution and common sense out here for a while as these storms move through the Memphis area. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum of its dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 8:29 the time. Halfway home on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. You heard the commander. Be careful out there. Thunderstorms rolling through Memphis and the Mid-South.
Much of the blob has passed through the city of Memphis.
It's a fast-moving blob.
Making its way up I-40. There is still some red, though, here in Memphis. And in those eastern suburbs are still dealing with it. And there's still a little bit more, some little tiny pockets. Not the big red blob, but some smaller red blobs still to come.
Is it an amoeba?
It is very much amoeba-like. But then there looks like after those red little things will pass through, then we're still going to have some more rain for a little while, but shouldn't be as severe, that's for sure.
All right. Time to talk some University of Memphis athletics. We do it each and every week with Jeff Crane.
It's time to talk Memphis Tigers athletics. Joining Greg and Eli is University of Memphis Deputy Athletics Director Jeff Crane. Here's Jeff with Greg and Eli.
He is Jeff Crane, University of Memphis Deputy AD. You can follow him on Twitter at jcrane75. And Jeff, apparently we may have to change your intro music from Eye of the Tiger to some kind of squirrel music because yesterday it was announced that the school's mascot will change from the Tigers to the Squirrels. Why the change, Jeff?
There were a lot of people, including myself, that fell for a few of those April Fool's jokes yesterday. I didn't realize how much traction April Fool's got, but boy, it was all over social media yesterday. But
isn't it crazy?
Good fun stuff.
Isn't it crazy, though? As a kid, April Fool's. By the time you get around to adulthood, it slows down. It doesn't slow down. I mean, for some reason, people always have to do that. So yesterday, for those who are wondering, what the heck are those guys talking about? Yeah, they had the social media posting and a video of Memphis changing its nickname from the Tigers to the Squirrels. Are there any squirrel nicknames out there from any schools at any division? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know, but I think if I was going to go that route, I'd go with the flying squirrel personally.
Yes.
That's just that's probably one of the more difficult squirrels to deal with. So that's what I'd go with.
Yeah, I think 100% you'd have to go flying squirrels.
I like flying squirrels. Zach, because he's the best producer in the business, I know is diligently trying to look this up to see if there's a squirrel mascot. It's funny, like I'll do mascots for 10 in a row on Friday, or our little game show that has swept the nation, Jeff, if you haven't heard of it. So we'll do nicknames, and I'll look up nicknames from D2, D3, NAIA. I mean, it's crazy, some of the names that are out there. So Squirrels was, that's no big deal at all. But no, folks, relax. You don't have to throw away all your Tiger apparel. It's still the Tigers. Okay, Ole Miss Memphis baseball tonight. We just talked about the big red blob rolling through the area. It's supposed to clear up. Are we going to be okay for baseball tonight?
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see how long this rain goes. Luckily, we do have a really nice turf field that drains rather quickly. So hopefully that will put us in a position where, as long as the rain stops quickly, then we'll be able to get out there and play. But still to be determined at this point.
By the way, Mary Baldwin University is the Fighting Squirrels.
There you go.
I'm telling you, it's like amazing.
Squirrels are always looking for a fight, so you got to watch out for those fighting squirrels.
You're also good roadkill.
I fight squirrels in my backyard all the time.
Zach, what did you find?
You also got Nutsy, the flying squirrel, the Richmond Flying Squirrels. It's a double-A team for the San Francisco Giants.
They got a flying squirrel mascot?
Also, Union Presbyterian Seminary apparently has I believe, a nickname here of the Squirrels.
The Squirrels. All right. See? You never know,
Fantastic.
folks. You never know.
I don't know if that's just regular squirrel. I don't know if they're regular squirrels, flying
If they're not
squirrels,
fighting or flying, something's
squirrels.
wrong.
I think they might just be plain old, they're just good old-fashioned squirrels.
Well, if you want to change it up, you could get you an albino squirrel from Oberlin College.
They're the albino squirrels?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, bye. Yesterday, Jeff, there was a story that came out in the Commercial Appeal using the Freedom of Information Act. Jason Munz talked about the attendance in men's basketball this year over at FedEx Forum. The numbers, 6,800 and change on average. Your response to that and those numbers and the attendance for 23-24?
Yeah, I think what we see across the country is that spectator sports are becoming more challenging because there's so many opportunities to watch sports in other ways on your phone and et cetera, et cetera. But, we choose to focus on those that do come and those that do come loyally, and there are lots of those. Frankly, if you talk to most schools in the country, if they're averaging that or higher, they're probably in a pretty good spot. We have a significant size arena, so that's the other part of this that plays into it. But to speak to it, I think the season started out really strong, as we all know, competitively, and the crowds were really good. And as the season went on, the crowd started to die down a bit. So that's just part of the game, and certainly not where any of us wanted to be, but feel very strongly, had we continued the streak that we were on competitively, then the crowds would have continued to grow throughout. So great foundation for what the future is there from an attendance perspective, and we'll continue to try to find creative ways to get people to come to games.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, and that's the couple of the points you just made. I was talking about that. Number one, in a normal 9,000-seat, 10,000-seat arena, 6,800 on average doesn't look too bad. 18,000 cavernous arena, it doesn't look great, but there is a lot worse out there in college basketball. But also, I brought up the point that while you guys have come up with every idea and will try to find more ideas to make it attractive to fans to buy season tickets, packages, party packs, whatever they want to call it, where you have maybe 4 games or 8 games or things like that, you're thinking outside the box. It seems it's a little bit harder in this day and age to have folks commit to a season, whether it be football, basketball, whether it be college, whether it be pro. It just doesn't seem to be, even loyal fans, as much buying the season tickets as they wait to see the individual games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, when seasons are long and there's just so much opportunity out there to do other things. And there's so much availability of tickets, frankly. I mean, you look at these third-party sites, et cetera. I mean, you can go buy any ticket at almost any event at any location within that venue that you want hours before the game starts. So, I think people want flexibility these days, and that's why we've come up with some packs that give people vouchers where they could use all 10 vouchers for one game or 2 vouchers for 5 games or whatever it may be. We're trying to give people flexibility to make decisions last minute, and that oftentimes is sort of decision-making that people want.
Your contract with the Grizzlies as far as attendance, is that still the same as it has been?
That has been the case. That is through this past season. That has been a part of the formula of our Grizzlies contract, or our contract with FedEx Forum, and we're currently working on a new contract with them that will start this next season. So let's call it fall of 24. We'll have a new contract, and remains to be seen kind of exactly how that structure will go. But I think we're both going into these conversations with an open mind and looking at some ways that could be better for both sides. Because frankly, some of the contract that was in place was rather complicated, and I think we're trying to simplify that a little bit as we go forward.
With, I guess this will be part of it. Is it your understanding that whenever the renovations happen to FedEx Forum, that like your attendance, will there be a season at all affected as far as attendance goes by the renovations?
Yeah, our understanding right now is that will not be the case. That the renovation will happen over a period of years in time. In fact, they'll be doing some starting some of the work there even this summer. So it's gonna happen over a period of years. And our understanding is certainly there'll be some part of the arena that will be impacted, but as a whole, we'll continue to be able to play there.
Yeah, they're starting, I think, sooner than later, once the season ends, to get going and take advantage of those off seasons. Jeff Crane joining us, University of Memphis Deputy AD. You can follow him on Twitter at jcrane75. Just one more question about the attendance for basketball. You guys, and I know Coach Hardaway and coaches before him have worked hard in putting together the best non-conference schedule they can play, but also to make sure some of those teams are coming to FedEx Forum to make it attractive to the fans. And when you look at those numbers from this past season, Clemson had the most attended, it was the most attended game with over 10,000 people. How hard of a challenge is it to be able to attract some of those programs that will attract fans to come play in Memphis?
I think on the basketball side, different than the football side, it's not as challenging. And a number of reasons for that. Number one, we play in a fantastic venue, and for teams to be able to come in and play in an NBA arena, that's of interest and a draw. This is also a great fertile ground for recruiting. So for them to be in this general part of the country, for Clemson, let's say, that's something that is of interest to them. And then we have a national brand in basketball. And so the opportunity to go back to their place helps on their attendance side as well. And you're just talking about more games. So you have more opportunities to schedule non-conference as opposed to football when you only have maybe 2 or 3 of those sort of opportunities. So it's something we're thankful that Coach Hardaway would like to schedule high-quality opponents, because that certainly helps the overall interest in attendance and ultimately revenue coming into the basketball program, and something we anticipate to continue.
When you do talk to teams about non-conference stuff, are there times where you have tried to tie football and basketball together to get a series?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, we do have that conversation on a regular basis with some of the non-conference opponents that are out there, and a lot of it, especially on the football side, is it's a puzzle where the date has to fit the opponent, and sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't, unfortunately. But definitely part of the equation when we're having those conversations about how do we leverage football to help basketball, and how do we leverage basketball to help football.
I got a text from a listener, and they wanted me to ask you if there's the possibility of doing things like they did. Now, you weren't around, Jeff, for the Cal era, but doing things like they did in the Cal era, like give away the big screen TV every game to random winners in the upper deck, the terrace level. The Tigers had a trade out with one of the local electronics stores. That was a big hit with the fans. Some of the stuff they did this year was really creative and good. So they give you your props for this year, but things like that, as far as being really creative and thinking way outside the box.
Yeah, we've got some super creative folks on our staff that spend a lot of time trying to come up with ideas that will attract people. It's interesting that one on the big screen TV. I've heard that multiple times over the last several years. So clearly that had an impact on people. We probably need to look at bringing that opportunity back. And that we're constantly challenging our team to think outside the box. We give them the flexibility to try some things work and some things don't. But the permission to fail every now and then, especially on creative ideas, is important. And we try a lot of things that work, and we try a lot of things that don't work. So we'll keep throwing it at the wall and see what sticks.
Of course, I will say this, and not that people wouldn't want to win one. Back in those days, big screen TVs actually cost something, so you were winning something big. Now you can get those for like $200.
But people love.
Back then, that was like a $2,500 prize. Now it's like $250.
It's true, but people love free stuff. All right, are you now with the Showboats starting their season and their first home game coming up this Saturday? Are you now officially, has the paperwork been all signed, running the show at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, and thus now they are tenants of yours?
That official ownership transfer has not taken place yet. Although we're in very close contact with the UFL and others as that transition takes place. We're still working out some of those final details and contracts, et cetera, related to that. And so the city still has the ownership on paper as of today, but I can tell you that we're very much in communication with the management company at the stadium and the city to make sure we're all on the same page as the UFL season begins.
Do you know if the old press box, that side, is going to be in use until renovations begin in May? And then would it move to the other side? How is that going to work for the UFL season?
Yeah, they could use it. I'm not certain whether they're choosing to use that side for press box purposes or not. I just don't know that answer, but it is still available, at least for the next several weeks. But I will say, because of our the work that we're going to be doing in the stadium, they may have elected to go ahead and just make some of those transitions now in anticipation of what's coming. But I'm not exactly sure what they've chosen to do there.
All right, stay dry. If you go to the game tonight, I'll see you over there. If not, we'll talk next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much, guys. Go Tigers, go.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Crane, University of Memphis Deputy AD.
By the way, do you know what now this is just United States, but the most common
nickname?
This is for 4-year colleges in the United States.
4-year colleges in the United States. Most popular nickname, I would say, let me think here for a second. Would it be Wildcats?
They would not. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th.
Wow.
According to this list.
Not even close. How about, Zach, you want to jump in here?
What was the question again?
The most common nickname among 4-year colleges in the United States.
Tigers have to be up there, right?
Tigers is 3rd.
Lions?
That's 4th.
Have we hit all the feline?
You guys are big into big cats,
obviously.
Pumas? No, I'm kidding.
Like bulldog or any type of dog?
That's a good one.
Bulldogs is right behind Lions. You're going down the list, except for you missed the top 2.
How about
Eagles?
Eagles.
Eagles, a good one.
Is correct.
That's number 1?
That is correct. Eagles, according to this list,
symbol of our country.
118 Eagles out there. And that includes like some that might be fighting or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that.
Are they all animals, the top 10?
Top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No.
Okay. Yeah, how about Hawks? Is Hawks up there?
Hawks is number 2. The top 2 are birds, the big birds.
So how many have we not gotten out of the top 10?
You've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4. You said Bulldogs, right?
Yes,
5. You've not said 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. You said Wildcats first, right?
Right.
That was 10.
So 6, 7, 8, 9 we got to come up with. And one of them is not an animal or bird,
One is not an animal.
Is it Warriors?
Warriors is 11.
11.
I doubt it's a Duke is on the list, or I'd be surprised.
You mean Blue Devils? Did you say Duke?
Yeah, like the Dukes.
Oh, the Dukes? No way, right?
No. That's
I doubt it.
Let me see.
Shockingly enough, by the way, this is not number 12 on the list is Pioneers.
You need to bury that one.
I mean, who would have thought Pioneers would be the 12th most common nickname? Again, I'm going by this list here that I found. I don't know how accurate this is or how old it is, but
how about have we said Huskies?
Huskies is not.
It's not on that list?
You were down the right. You need to go further down the path you were already on one time.
Like the Wolves?
Oh, okay. That would be so more cats. Got to think of some more cats here. We did Lions. We did Tigers. We did Wildcats. How about what else we got? How about it's not Cheetahs. No way Cheetahs top 10. What is it? I know we're out of time here.
Cougars.
Yeah.
Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
Then Bears.
Okay.
And then Knights.
There you go. That's good stuff.
And again, I don't know if it's all completely accurate how old that list is, but that's just the list I found on the internet for I guess that's what the 12 top ones. But get Pioneers. 36. There are 36 Pioneers out there according to this list, that blows me away that there are 36 schools that would have the Pioneers. Who can you?
Lewis and Clark better be the Pioneers. There's a Lewis and Clark college or university. If they're not the Pioneers, then what the hell's going on here? There's 36 schools that have Pioneers.
That's in Illinois, Lewis and Clark. But can you name one Pioneer? Is there a Division I school that is the Pioneers?
No, I don't believe so.
Like with the Charlotte 49ers or
Yeah.
what?
That's not a Pioneer, though.
We need Pioneers.
Yeah,
actual word Pioneer.
That's 49ers.
Well, I didn't know if like a 49er would be considered a pioneer because of they have to move.
This is the actual. The nickname is Pioneers.
I can't imagine
I have to
there
look
is.
up to find out what the
have,
Pioneers out there are.
We have Lumberjacks. We have. Yeah, I don't know about that. All right.
I wonder why Cardinals ever became such a popular nickname. It's not exactly like a Cardinal's an intimidating thing.
You got the Denver Pioneers.
It's a beautiful bird, though. What's Lewis and Clark? Please, somebody tell me what Lewis and Clark is. They missed the whole thing if they weren't the Pioneers.
Have y'all heard of Grinnell?
Grinnell,
yes.
They're not Division I, but that's the one that they all they do is run up and down the court, shoot 3-pointers. They shoot like 100 threes a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Grinnell College.
They're the Pioneers?
Grinnell, Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get a few more of these. We'll come back, wrap up hour 2. Seth Hennigan, Tigers quarterback.
But they wouldn't have
joins us
qualified
at
for that
9:05.
list. Oh, no, yeah, because they are 4-year. That was 4-year university. So, yeah,
Right.
It wasn't Division I.
Yeah, Denver University is D1. They just independent right now.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with the rest of that. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Maddie Bernard, outfielder for your University of Memphis softball team. Spring is on the way, and now is the perfect time to tap into your home's equity with a HELOC from Southern Security. You can borrow up to 100% LTV with no closing costs on loans of $50,000 or less. Apply today at southernsecurity.org or contact a member of our team at 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of University of Memphis athletics and 901 Women. Southern Security is a equal housing lender.
Getaway Sports Bar, the best kept secret in town, open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garvin, the owner, created this SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Rack them up on 6 pool tables. Coldest beer in town, grab you a pool stick and get you some good bar grub. 100% Angus burgers, big and moist chicken tenders. Daily happy hour Monday through Friday, 2 to 6 p.m. with long neck domestics, $2.25. Getaway Sports Bar, 4632 Winchester.
Planning for spring at Lowe's means big savings on outdoor power equipment, and Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Buy one select Ego string trimmer, leaf blower, or mower kit. Get one select 56-volt battery free. That's up to a $299 value. Power through spring with Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Professional football is back as your Memphis Showboats have 5 home games this season, starting with the home opener on Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. The Showboats are coming off a strong first year and have added a ton of firepower to the offense, highlighted by quarterback Case Cookus, the 2022 Player of the Year, and the return of fan favorite Vinny Papali. Let's make Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium the best home field advantage of the UFL. For tickets, visit theufl.com. That's theufl.com. Go Boats!
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
All right, I was right. Had to have been. Lewis and Clark College are the pioneers. The definition, by the way, of a pioneer: a person who was among the first to explore or settle a new country or area.
There's Volunteer State Community College in Gallatin is the pioneers.
Okay.
That wouldn't be on that list. That wouldn't qualify for that list. But Tusculum University in Greenville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're the pioneers. I thought there was another Tennessee one that I saw was pioneers. Maybe not.
Sacred Heart is another pioneer school.
So we're saying they should get rid of it because it's just outdated. Nothing wrong. There's no PC. There's no problems with that. Pioneers.
I'm not saying they should get rid of it. It just shocks me that there's that many that have pioneers. I'm fine with the nickname.
Well, if you think about the definition, it makes sense why there was a lot of them with pioneers. They came into that area, the first to explore that area, so they went with that. They're a pioneer. But now there's not too many places that haven't been explored or discovered. So
But in your mind, Greg, you got to explore in your mind.
You got to explore your mind. Explore your mind. Yeah. The rest will follow. No, I know that's not the song. A couple of NFL notes before we take the top of the hour break. And again, Seth Hennigan joins us at 9:05, Parthu Pajai at 9:25. The Kansas City Chiefs have signed Carson Wentz to back up Patrick Mahomes. Boy, is that guy fallen from grace. Not that being with Kansas City is a bad thing. May pick up a ring, right? He's got a ring with Philadelphia after being replaced by Nick Foles and the Eagles winning a Super Bowl, but possibly another as a backup to Patrick Mahomes. But Wentz went from what was a starter in the NFL, a high draft pick, to now primarily a backup quarterback. And the Jets and the Eagles trade is now official. The Jets send a conditional 2026 draft pick to the Jets. They get edge rusher Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Jets have made some nice additions. Now, they still got to get Aaron Rodgers healthy and keep him healthy, but they have made some nice additions in weapons for him, protection for him, defensive side of the ball. They were already pretty good on defense, so the Jets have had a pretty good offseason.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably urged them on to do some of these things that they have done, but you're absolutely right. It's all dependent upon him. Can he come back from the Achilles injury? We talked about Brandon Clark. Knock on wood, so far so good with what we have seen in 3 games since returning. I mean, the whole rush Aaron Rodgers to try to finish the season storyline was stupid. I don't think it ever was reality. Even if the Jets were competing for a playoff spot, I don't think he would have come back. I know modern medicine and the technology they use and rehabilitation and all that is a lot different, but my gosh, are you talking about putting this guy on the field several months after going down with an Achilles injury at 39, soon to be 40? I thought that was ridiculous from the get-go. But to have him for September, to have him for the new season, hopefully back to 100% for the Jets' sake, I think that's certainly a strong possibility.
Moving can be stressful, but when you got the help of the professionals from Black Tie Moving, well, a lot of that stress and worry is taken out of the process because you know your belongings are going to get where they're supposed to be without any issues, without any problem. That's why Black Tie Moving has A+ rating with a Better Business Bureau, 5-star ratings all over the place online. People that use Black Tie Moving rave about the experience they have with Black Tie Moving. Don't try and do it all yourself. Don't try and get your friends to help you. Get the professionals. Make sure it's going to be done right. You're young. There's a lot of things you're trying to figure out and consider and everything else when you got a move going on. The least of your worries should be making sure your stuff's getting where it's going without any problems. That's exactly what Black Tie Moving takes care of for you. Give them a call, 901-316-6196, or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis. They work with you, coming up with a plan fitting your needs and fitting your budget as well, and they'll give you the no-obligation quote up front. If you've got a move coming up, whether it's across town or across country, talk to the professionals at Black Tie Moving.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Is your home screaming for an upgrade? Listen closely because Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is about to make your day. First up, say goodbye to cold showers and hello to endless hot water with our tankless water heater upgrade. Not only does it save space and energy, but it also keeps the hot water flowing exactly when you need it. And here's the kicker. Switch from your old tank to a sleek, efficient tankless water heater now, and Choate's will hand you a $500 credit. Yep, you heard that right. $500 back in your pocket. But wait, there's more. Clogged drains are a hassle no homeowner wants to deal with. With Choate's special offer, get your drains cleared for just $93 or it's absolutely free. That's our guarantee to make it drain or you don't pay a dime. So why wait? Call Choate's today at 347-8086 or visit us online at choateshvac.com. And remember, Choate's, let our family serve your family.
If you like where Mercedes-Benz has been, you're going to love where they're going. A full range of EVs now available at your local dealer. Mercedes-Benz is turning electric completely on its head. Experience the all-electric EQB, a versatile luxury SUV that can seat as many as 7. The brilliantly advanced and superbly equipped EQE SUV, positively alive with groundbreaking technology. The inspired EQE, the electric sedan with energizing comfort features that recharge you. The boundlessly capable EQS SUV, a vehicle that takes luxury and innovation to places they've never been before. And of course, the magnificent EQS, the flagship of all EVs, delivering the Mercedes electric experience on a truly epic scale. The vehicles are all electric. The feeling's all Mercedes. The choice is all yours. Test drive a Mercedes-Benz electric model today at your local dealer or learn more at MBUSA.com.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove-wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 6 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine.
Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. All the major inbound routes right now are running slower than normal as this heavy rain makes its way through the Memphis area. It's causing some slowdowns out here as expected over here where it's already heavy this time of the morning on 40 west from Germantown Parkway all the way up to Sycamore View Road. It's been slow on and off all morning already on 240 east and westbound over here near Poplar. Sometimes that can just crawl along. Again, visibility is way down this morning. Please be careful out here with this heavy rain that's coming down. A lot of standing water on main and secondary arteries. A 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services here in Memphis. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:05 the time. Hour number 3. Final hour for us today on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Morning. Seth Hennigan joins us in just a moment. As the commander said, the weather not good outside. It is currently 71 degrees. It is still stormy, but the storms are rolling through the area, then rain, then the rain will dissipate. So should be cleared by tonight. We're looking at a low tonight of about 45 degrees. Tomorrow looks to be nice, sunshine with a high of 58 degrees. Hour number 3 of the program is brought to you each and every day by Jenkins Floors and More at 6 East Commerce in Hernando, with stores as well in Little Rock and Cleveland, Mississippi. Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Specializes in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. So contractors, builders, family projects, call them at 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. They'll come out to your home. They'll come out to your business. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans. They look forward to your business, and we can't thank them enough for being a part of our show each and every day. That's Jenkins Floors and More. Without further ado, he is the starting quarterback for the University of Memphis, getting ready for his 4th and final year. You can follow him on Twitter at Seth_Hennigan. He's Seth Hennigan, who joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Seth.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How about yourself?
Going great.
Do the spring sessions get old after a while, or you still fired up like you were for the first one?
Still fired up. The opportunity to play football is really fleeting. And, obviously knowing that my college career is coming to an end after this year, it makes you just appreciate every moment. So at first it kind of went by fast, my freshman, sophomore, spring bowls, but now it's like, okay, it's coming to an end. I got to, really focus on my craft and, enjoy every moment with my guys out there.
You're about a third of the way through the spring session. Have things gone as expected? Have they gone well?
Yeah, they've gone well. We're obviously returning Rock and Demir and Kobe Drake, and a good majority of the offense. We lost Blake Watson and Jacob Likes, obviously, and some other guys. But, just having a lot of guys back, you kind of know what to expect. So we're just trying to get better at, what we're bad at person by person and as an offensive unit, and then, figure out what some of the transfer guys that we might need to play a role this season for us, trying to figure out what they're good at and how they'll plug into our offense.
Along that line, like for you, obviously that first spring, it's brand new, everything else, you're trying to learn a lot of stuff. But like now that you're the veteran guy, how is spring different? Like what are the things that you focus on in this spring, and how's that different than maybe your first one?
Yeah, the first spring, you're just learning the offense. So, your head's kind of spinning. And then, after a while, it's more about, pouring into some of your teammates and trying to make sure that they're developing and trying to get better. And, that they see the potential in themselves to, maximize what they're capable of doing. So it's less, executing the plays and worrying about yourself, and more just thinking about the bigger picture and trying to make sure the team as a whole is making steps in the right direction every single day. So I'd say that's the biggest difference between, my first year and now coming in my last spring and my last year.
You're one of the most unselfish people I've ever met. You are a team-first person. You're not so much the individual goals and individual accolades. You've always been like that. That probably comes from your upbringing, your dad being a football coach. But obviously now you're starting to think about your future, and I know that you have the confidence that you believe that you can get a shot at the National Football League. And going into this season, I think that being a fourth-year starter has got to be a rarity around the country. You've been flying a little bit under the radar. Is this the year that people really take notice of you? I know there's high expectations for the team this year, but what about that and thinking about your future, Seth?
Yeah, that's obviously a lot to think about, and I have a really good class, in my opinion. I think we're pretty deep at the quarterback class for my year, in terms of just like draft prospects and things of that nature. People have played a lot of football, and just because of the COVID year, it makes my class so deep. Mm-hmm. And me just playing all 4 years, no red shirt, kind of puts me ahead with some of those people. I'll be a younger guy in my class, but yeah, it'll be a good opportunity, as long as I play to the best of my ability, and I know my teammates will work for me, and I'll work for them, and we should have some success on offense once again, and we'll see where things hash out. But obviously, I want it to be a year where I get recognition, but at the end of the day, it's about how our team does. And last year, 10-3, and I'll take that. And this year, obviously hoping for more, and everything else will fall into place as long as we're winning games and playing good football. So, and we have the opportunity to do that with the guys we have and the coaching staff we have. So, now we're just playing the waiting game until it's time to get back to it. But just trying to get better every day of spring, and not worry about too much about the future, because obviously all of our guys are on social media, and you see all this stuff about who's going to be the Group of 5 bid in the playoffs. All this playoff talk, but you can't focus on that. You got to focus on, get week 1, week 2, week 3, and so on and so forth. And that's always been kind of how I approach things, just because if you look too far in the future, you forget about where your feet are, and, you got to focus on the now to get to where you want to be in the future. So just focusing every single day, getting better, and look up, and hopefully we're where we want to be.
You are without a doubt a rarity in today's world of college athletics. 4 years playing at the same school your entire career. What has kept you at the University of Memphis? Why was this the right path for you when it seems like pretty much every other player in college football transfers at least once?
Yeah, I mean, someone asked me this, I think, last night, but Coach Cramsey and Coach Silverfield were obviously a big factor in coming back. And someone asked me, did you think about leaving last year or at the end of last year? And I told him, yeah. There's a lot of different factors that play into college athletics nowadays, college football, especially with the NIL world that it's kind of become. There's so much opportunity across the whole entire board, but I just figured I have a lot of good things going for me in Memphis. The system that Coach Cramsey runs caters to the quarterback, and they have all the trust in me to make the right plays. And just Coach Silverfield and Coach Cramsey coming back, Rock Taylor coming back. So we have all the pieces, and obviously it's a lot of people's goal to play at the Power 5 level and play in the biggest stages in football. But some things don't happen. They don't happen for a reason. And Memphis was the best decision for me. Coach Silverfield put his chips all in on me my true freshman year. So, I reciprocated that energy my senior year when people are trying to contact me. I'm staying at Memphis, and that's the best choice for me. I got my people here, my girlfriend's here, so all the pieces just aligned well for me to stay.
Well, first of all, it's amazing how that dynamic works, because talking to Coach Cramsey, same type of deal. He's had overtures from other schools. He wants to know, hey, is Seth coming back? If Seth's coming back, I'm back. Coach was already back. Rock comes back. Is Seth coming back? Yep, Rock's going to come back, and vice versa. So you're leaning on them, wondering if they're coming back. They're wondering if you're coming back, and you guys are all together again for 2024. But you mentioned something that I was going to bring up next. Okay, so what's supposed to happen, if I got this right, with the portal is once you announce that you're going into the portal, I know you did not do that, but once a player announces they're going into the portal, then they can be contacted by schools. But there's no question that a lot of contact happens before a player is in the portal to see if they can convince you to go into the portal. So as you just alluded to, you were contacted. I'm not asking you to mention names or schools or anything like that, but it happens all the time, doesn't it? You guys are contacted before even somebody goes into the portal, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's and that's tampering. That's not supposed to happen. But again, that's part of the way it is right now, unfortunately, with teams. If you're Coach Silverfield or any coach out there, and you think you got certain players coming back, and as long as those players want to come back, and then all of a sudden people are contacting that player when they don't go into the portal, that's got to be irritating. I mean, it's going to be a lot tougher for a coach, Seth. And again, your dad is a football coach, high school, but a coach nonetheless, that it's got to be hard knowing that not only you got to put game plans together and get ready for opponents and deal with your players all year long, you have to worry about players leaving. It's great for you guys that you have that option now. I think it makes it even tougher for coaches, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. It's just like minor league professional football. It's the second, biggest form of football, American football athletics that there is, and with NIL, it's a whole new world that just kind of started pretty recently. And yeah, I'd say it's definitely hard on Coach Silverfield, especially because in the NFL they have other people to manage that stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's kind of all on the head coach, or at least that's what I know to a certain extent. So I mean, it's for sure hard, and it's especially hard for a group of 5 schools, or just schools with a limited budget, to try and keep their stud players, just because they're fielding offers from bigger schools with more publicity, and they're telling them what they want to hear, and they're trying to offer them more money. So, I mean, it's pretty understandable how, some of the best players at the Group of 5 level, transfer up.
Right.
We're pretty fortunate to have been able to keep, Rock and Mir and some of our guys, Scooter, Xavier Hill, just keep them on our team for this last ride, because I feel like a lot of us knew that we were going to be special this year, and we have the opportunity to do something really special for our university, and we're just happy to be back with each other, and try and have a similar output as last year. So I feel like those reasons were enough to keep a lot of us around, and we're excited for sure.
You mentioned that you don't like to think too far ahead. You try and stay in the present, but there has to be like that part of you that kind of thinks about it and kind of almost dreams about, like, what if my career ends in a playoff game in college football? Like that'd be a pretty cool way to end your college career, is that you're playing in the playoff as a Group of 5 school.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure a possibility. There's definitely a variety of possibilities. You never know how it could end. So just, you got to be happy every time you get to step on the field and play football. And, obviously I hope to play and dream to play in the NFL after my college career. But, just got to take it day by day and do what I can, pour into my teammates to get the best version out of them, and obviously try and do the same for myself. And, everything will play out as long as you stick to the standard and do things the right way. That's what we've always kind of, Coach Silverfield and the staff have always kind of preached. Even when I was going 6-6 my first 2 years, we were doing a bunch of things the right way, and morally, and working really hard, doing 24 period practices. So it's just a matter of time till things fall in your place. I feel like that's kind of what happened for our program. We're just doing stuff the right way, and then we had a good year last year, hoping to continue to build on that.
Well, and obviously one of the goals is to get to the conference championship game, and if you get to the conference championship game, then you could talk about the possibility of the playoffs. But to get to that championship game, obviously you got to be one of the top 2 teams. Do you feel going into this season that you're the team to beat?
Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of things on the media are saying. I feel like there's a couple contenders in our conference that kind of stick out, and we have I think we have a good schedule to be able to propel ourselves into the playoff spot as long as we win our games. But we play Tulane on the road, we play UTSA on the road, we play South Florida on the road. So those are some of the teams that are on the better half of the conference. So like those games kind of stick out to me as ones that we need to win to have that opportunity. But obviously I have a pretty good resume, just as a college quarterback and coming into my final year, and then we have a great staff and a bunch of great players. We got Chandler Martin back on defense. We got Rock. We got Xavier Hill. I mean, we have a pretty loaded team, especially coming off a 10-3 year last year, and losing to SMU barely, losing to Tulane, losing to Missouri. So, a couple of things bounced differently, and we might be in that championship game last year. So
right.
Obviously, we should be in the mix again this year, and just gotta, take it week by week, day by day.
All right, so what the heck's the deal with all the number changes? What, are you trying to be like incognito every year so teams can't recognize you? What is this?
New year, new me. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, it was kind of, I changed my number every year in high school for a variety of reasons. Because like my sophomore year is my first year on varsity, and so they just gave me a number. My junior year, I wanted 9, but then a senior wanted 9, so I just took 17. Because I was like, okay, it's your last year, you can have it. So then my senior year, I took 9 in high school. And then my freshman year of college, they just gave me a number, you're just going to be a quarterback. So I was 14, and then I ended up being a starter. And then so I was like, okay, I'm going to change my number. And then by that time, I changed my number 6 years in a row. Everyone's like, "Oh, do you change your number every year?" So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna just change my number every year." So then I went to 2 last year, and then I'm going back to 9, which is kind of my senior year number. I won the state championship my senior year in number 9. So hopefully bringing back that mindset, that mentality, and that winning. And it's just my favorite number, 9. So let's do it, senior year. Let's try.
So you've never had the same number back-to-back years in your football career?
Never.
Here's the great thing about it, though. When Seth makes an NFL team and say there's a number he wants, 1, he doesn't have to pay. You always have the rookies end up having to buy they have to do something with the veterans to get that number or whatever the case.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about it because you'll take any number, for goodness sakes.
I'll take any number, any spot on the NFL team.
Exactly. Give him any number. All right, real quick, and we really appreciate you spending this time with us. Real quick here, as we're short on time. How does Mario Anderson look? I was over there at practice, and I saw you and the other quarterbacks were working with him, catching passes. He is the big name of the transfer portal guys coming from the SEC in South Carolina. What does he look like?
Yeah, he looks pretty good. He's been doing a good job. He had a great winter off season. Really a vocal leader for our team. Just being here a short amount of time, and he's already been stepping up. He's kind of banged up, so he's in and out of live periods and such. But he's been doing a great job for us, catching the ball, working on his hands, and then obviously just running hard and running well. He's just a disciplined guy, so we're excited to see what he's capable of. And obviously he has some of the film from South Carolina, so he's just kind of working his way in that running back room because we have a good running back room.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You look at our running back room. Jay Duckers ran for 1,000 yards in FBS. Brandon Thomas. I don't know if he's ran for 1,000 yards, but he was my starter my true freshman year. He's been playing he's played a lot of football with me. And then Sutton Smith, the young guy out of Georgia, played some ball for us last year, and we're expecting big things out of him as well in the future. So that's 4 backs who I'm really I'm comfortable with all of them. So we're excited for Mario for sure, and what our backs can do for us this year.
Spring game will be on the 20th of this month. So got the Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Watch Seth and the guys. I think it starts at 3 if I'm not mistaken. He is Seth Hennigan, quarterback for the Tigers. You can follow him on Twitter at Seth_Hennigan. Seth, as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Take care.
One of the great things that sets Genesis Diamonds apart from other jewelry stores is the service that you get. That's because their folks there are not commissioned salespeople who are there just to try and sell you the most expensive thing. They're not working on commission. They are there to educate you. They want to teach you. And they do that in a way that's very transparent, informative, and useful because it'll make you a better jewelry buyer. They'll teach you the things that you need to know when you're looking at diamonds, when you're looking at fine jewelry, things to look for, things that affect pricing and how diamonds are graded, those types of things. They're going to make you a much smarter shopper when it comes to buying jewelry and therefore how you can maximize your budget when you're buying jewelry. They'll tell you all about the difference with lab-grown diamonds or the natural diamonds. They do it in a relaxed, no-pressure atmosphere over at Genesis Diamonds. Most guys go in there, they don't know a darn thing about what they're trying to buy or what they're looking for. Well, Genesis Diamonds is going to change that. They're going to educate you and help you understand exactly what it is you're looking for. Then, of course, they've got a massive selection of diamonds for you to choose from, massive selection of fine jewelry for you to choose from, pre-owned Rolex watches, everything you can imagine, and it's all at great prices as well. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. Go by, get educated, become a smarter jewelry buyer, and then pick for the best selection of jewelry you'll find at Genesis Diamonds.
We're talking NCAA tournament and Tigers hoops with Parthu Bajai. He's next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Professional football is back as your Memphis Showboats have 5 home games this season, starting with the home opener on Saturday, April 6th at 11 a.m. The Showboats are coming off a strong first year and have added a ton of firepower to the offense, highlighted by quarterback Case Cookus, the 2022 Player of the Year, and the return of fan favorite Vinny Papali. Let's make Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium the best home field advantage of the UFL. For tickets, visit theufl.com. That's theufl.com. Go Boats!
From the studio that brought you Uncut Gems comes The Iron Claw, the unbelievable true story of the Von Erich brothers, who built a wrestling dynasty. Adele calls it her favorite movie of the year, starring Zac Efron and Emmy Award winner Jeremy Allen White. Get The Iron Claw on Blu-ray and DVD now from A24 in Lionsgate.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
You can't say that.
But it's true.
You just made that up.
No, I didn't. You can get to any Central Barbecue location from anywhere in Memphis in 10 minutes, depending on traffic.
You made that up.
Try me.
Bartlett.
The Summer Avenue Central Barbecue.
Germantown.
Not Memphis, but the Poplar location.
South Memphis.
Downtown.
Olive Branch.
Again, not Memphis, but the South Haven Central Barbecue.
I still don't think you say you can get to there any of them in 10 minutes.
Well, that's why it's depending on traffic.
You watch sports. You listen to sports. Now let's talk sports. Are you a huge sports fan with always something to say but only a few listeners? Well, not anymore, because Sports 56 is opening the airwaves overnight. From 12 midnight till 6 a.m. for people like you to talk sports during your own 1-hour radio talk show on Sports After Dark. That means for 1 hour, you can tell us what's really on your mind regarding sports. Your favorite sports team, your favorite player, discuss pre-games, post-games, all games. Let's talk. Orientation is required. Interested applicants must contact the podcast center at gmail.com or call 901-468-3097. That's the podcast center at gmail.com or 901-468-3097. Amateur and professional talk show hosts encouraged to apply.
Required orientation is Saturday, April 13th, or you can take it online.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawild Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Again, a big shout out to our new third hour sponsor, Jenkins Floors and More, in Hernando, Little Rock, and Cleveland, Mississippi. Parthu Pajai joining us now in studio, University of Memphis basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian. Make sure to follow him on Twitter, on Twitter at PUPADHYAYA_. How are you, man? Quiet now, isn't it, for you?
Really quiet.
Chance to catch
really
up with
quiet.
your sleep?
No doubt. Even last off season, it always catches you by surprise, right? Like you're going from working 55, 60, whatever hours a week throughout the season, especially towards the end of the season, to now just kind of being, more in a cruise control mode, if you will. And last off season, things ended and there were fireworks in terms of, okay, KO declares for the draft and, guys are entering the portal, who's going to come back, who's not. This year we got the same questions, but it's been as you guys know, a lot quieter around here than it was last summer.
It'll pick up.
I know. Trust me.
Sooner than
Trust
later.
me. I'm just bracing myself, man. That's all it is.
All right, before we dive into the Tigers, again, not a ton of stuff to talk about, but we could speculate.
Sure.
NCAA Final Four, down to the 4. How did your bracket do, by the way?
Man, I'll be honest, I haven't even really looked at it. I filled one out.
You didn't look at it?
I haven't checked it too often. I was checking it the first weekend, and that was really it. I got to go back and look at it. It's I did one this year.
Who's your
I
pick
didn't
to
do
win?
plenty. Purdue. So
Okay,
Purdue
so you're
is still alive and well.
All right,
yeah.
all right.
My Final Four was Purdue. It was Arizona. It was Auburn, which got eliminated very early. And the last team in my Final Four, who was the
You didn't
last
have
team in my
Connecticut
Final
in?
Four?
That's Auburn.
I think.
Oh, that's Auburn.
Yeah,
Did you have
that's Auburn's
Houston?
side.
Did you have Houston?
Who did I have? I've got a printout that I'll pull out here in a second. But
Well, it would be the South bracket.
right.
Marquette, Houston,
Duke, Creighton.
I had Duke. Yes,
You had
yes.
Duke.
So I had Purdue, Duke, Arizona, and
Auburn.
and I had Purdue and Arizona in the final, with Purdue winning it all. So my champion is still alive and well, and I still think Purdue can win it all.
They can, and my champion's alive and well, but I'm like near the bottom of our
Okay,
office pool
okay.
because I missed so many other things. So what do you think about the NC State story? Has been incredible. Just proves, and this is why I love conference tournaments, that it gives you a chance to make up for what was maybe an average season where you weren't going to get an at-large.
Below average for them, man.
Yeah,
They were
were
under 500 in the ACC.
Right, so
crying
they
out
weren't
loud.
getting in as an
No,
at-large, and they
no.
make this run, and they're still making the run. And Burns is unbelievable. He's become a story within the story, going up against Zach Edey, who is incredible. You got 11 versus 1, and then in the other game, Alabama. I would not have thought Alabama would have come out of the SEC. If I was to pick, one team was definitely getting in. It
They
would
just
have
can't
been
play defense. That's
it would
all
have
it
been
is.
Tennessee. It would have been Auburn. It would have been Kentucky.
Right.
It's Alabama. Yeah, it's all or nothing with Alabama without their lack of defense. Going up against what looks like an impossible task against Connecticut.
A machine, yes.
Looking to defend their title. So what do you think of the two national semis?
I think we're going to get 2 blowouts, unfortunately. But I think the championship game with UConn and Purdue, the 2 likely winners of the semifinal games, is going to be amazing. You know, those were the 2. If you looked at it all season, there were probably 3 teams that were in that tier 1, and that'd be UConn, it'd be Purdue, and it'd be Houston. Arizona was kind of pushing for that space. Marquette was kind of pushing for that space, but those were clear.
Carolina.
Carolina, North Carolina, thank you, in that mix, and those were tier 2s, I think, trying to be tier 1s. But when you looked at it, there were 3 teams that stood above the rest, and the 3 teams I just mentioned, Houston, UConn, and Purdue, and we've got 2 of those still alive, so I think that's going to make for a great title game. Semifinals, you know, with the 11 seed, magical run, I think it ends. I think that DJ Burns story, as great as it's been, ends on Saturday. And the other side, Bama's obviously amazing offensively, but once those shots stop falling, they can't guard anybody, really. So I think they wrap their season up as well on Saturday.
When you cover college basketball like you do, obviously cover a team all year long, they're not in the tournament. When it comes tournament time, are you like glued to the tournament, or are you kind of like you need to decompress from college basketball?
I'm glued. I've been trying to watch as many games as possible. Been either, getting together with friends and watching them or sitting on the couch and kind of consuming as much as I can. I love this time of year, man. This is awesome. Especially that Elite 8, Sweet 16 round that weekend is my favorite, personally. Just because the storylines and everything that comes with it is awesome.
Yeah, I'm a little depressed when it ends, to be honest
100%.
with you. But I tend to agree with what you said about what you think will happen on Saturday. But I think it could be an epic national championship if it is indeed Purdue and Connecticut. And, of course, you mentioned the other team with Houston. The Jamal Shedd injury did them in.
100%. I mean, look, if Shedd's not injured there down the stretch in the second half, then I think Houston wins that game, and I think NC State's season would have come to a close in the Elite 8 versus them going to the Final Four. So that kind of changes things, and it changes the complexion of the Final Four as we have it now. Man, State, an amazing story, though. NC State, I'm from Raleigh, as you guys know.
Right.
I went to Chapel Hill, but I started at North Carolina State before I transferred to Carolina.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I
didn't
don't know if we had talked about that or not.
No.
Yeah. I went to college wanting to be a mechanical engineer, and NC State was, in the state of North Carolina, it was NC State or Charlotte, as the 2 kind of engineering schools. So those are the only 2 schools I applied to. Luckily, got into both. But North Carolina State is where I started. Very quickly realized that the engineering thing was not for me, man.
Too much
Some
work.
of those early calc classes kind of humbled me greatly, but found the sports writing thing end of my freshman year, and the rest is history. So I spent 2 years, I was going to say 2 seasons, but 2 years at NC State before I transferred over to Carolina, Chapel Hill.
So you're AP voter, right?
I am, yes.
Okay. Did you have UConn number 1 preseason in your preseason poll?
Who did I have number 1 preseason? It might have been.
Or was it maybe Purdue? Could have been Purdue.
I think it was either Purdue or Kansas. I'm not. In some order, it was Purdue, Kansas, Duke, Connecticut, and Houston. I can't remember the exact order, but I think the number 1 may be either Purdue or Kansas.
Where would you, if you've got as hard, I'm putting you on spot. Like Alabama, where were they preseason for you?
Probably, I believe they weren't ranked in terms of the preseason poll that came out, but I think I had them at 24 or 25.
So, okay, they were
just looking at, some.
They were a fringe top 25 team.
Exactly.
Preseason. I couldn't remember where they fell, if they were actually made the poll to start the season or if they had not. Obviously, they lost a lot from last year, but they brought in a lot of guys,
I was
too.
going to say they added Grant Nelson, and they got their All-American guard, Mark Sears, coming back. So I think that coupled with Nate Oates being one of the best coaches in college basketball, I think that made them, in my opinion, worthy of a top 25 ranking.
So 3 of the 4 you got right. Nobody got NC State right because they weren't ranked probably in anybody's top 25. But when you look at the teams that are still alive, and again, Alabama's a little bit different, although, as Coach Frank Martin pointed out, they kind of play through their bigs, but Sears is a stud guard. They kind of play through the bigs. Connecticut, with what they have with Klingon.
Yep.
Purdue with the Mountain Man, Edey, and NC State with Burns. Centers
are back.
Significant.
Yes, the big man is back. I love it.
Right? And then I kind of make this this segue into the American Conference and Memphis and Florida Atlantic. Vlad Golden, who was dominant and dominated Memphis, is now in the portal. Probably will follow Dusty May to Michigan. Memphis really never got it settled with that center position, the Malco situation, which it still has not come to a conclusion, but they obviously missed him late in the year. But it shows that even especially at the college level.
More so at the college level, yeah.
More so the college level, the traditional back-to-the-basket guys, they don't have to be what they are in the NBA now, stepping out and shooting threes, but they're so pivotal.
They are, because you look at Edey or Klingon, like, once you throw that ball inside and you're playing through a big man, like, defense collapses and it opens up shooters. Same thing with Alabama and Grant Nelson and other bigs. And I think...
And Burns.
And obviously Burns. Yeah, yes. Burns is just a different beast, though.
It comes in, it's not coming out, though. It comes into him, it's not going back out.
I mean, if they throw a double, it is coming back.
He does. He's a great passer.
He's a beautiful passer.
That's why they don't double team him. It seems like it's like he finds people.
Yeah, I mean, Duke played him straight up, and you saw what happened there. But he's been able to burn people when they... Burn people, no pun intended, but he's been able to kind of have his way when they throw doubles at him too. He just kicks it back out to...
But that's so important to have that. And 100%. And even Malcolm wasn't that kind of center. He wasn't backing guys in off the dribble. He was there as a physical force to get rebounds, put back, so he could run the court. And now, of course, he's finally done. Here's a team that is in transition again as far as personnel is concerned.
Yep.
So right now, we're starting to see Memphis's name pop up for certain transfers. But it wasn't like it was haphazard like it was last year, where every name that went in the portal, Memphis's name was put next to it. You had, I was mentioning earlier, Gibson Jimerson, who's a guard from St. Louis. They've played SLU before with Gibson Jimerson on that roster.
Yep.
But his name associated with Memphis and other schools. You've seen a couple of others. I've said he's been pretty selective as opposed to last year. But you're starting to see more names now because more teams have been eliminated. There's only 4 still alive. So that means more of those guys are jumping into the portal. There's more to choose from.
Yep.
How do you see it with Penny so far, early going of the portal, the portal season?
Yeah, I think last offseason it was like Memphis and Arkansas were on every single player's list, especially big name guys that you recognize. They were, without doubt going to be kind of in that mix or at least mentioned on their, 10, 15 player list that they've heard from as far as schools. But this year you just didn't see that. And Greg, as you mentioned, Memphis' season ends that Thursday on March 13th. And, that Friday and the following week, I'm scrolling through Twitter. I got all my notifications on, just kind of waiting by the computer. And, you don't see Memphis really in the mix with any of the guys that are becoming available at that point. But now you're seeing more and more. What you're seeing now is, though, like, if you look, there's not really, I mean, Doug McDaniel, obviously, being probably the biggest name, but you're not seeing the bright, flashy names. You're more so seeing guys that, you know, are under the radar, or we're at, you know, FIU or kind of at the mid-major level that Memphis has targeted and deemed to be good fits, which I think is a great sign, right? Because you saw what the big name thing go wrong last offseason. And I think now you're seeing a more selective approach, which should be great, I think. Could be great, at least.
When do you expect we get a definitive thing from David Jones, and do you think he's gone?
Yeah, it's hard to say. When Penny said it was 70-30, 70 Memphis, he returns to Memphis, 30 he's gone, I thought it would be the other way around,
Me
right?
too.
Like, still a chance that he comes back, but probably less than, you know, what I thought at that point, not even a coin flips chance, right? Like, so less than 50% chance that he returns to Memphis at that point. I don't know. He's been quiet. He did an interview. I don't know if you guys saw it in the DR. I think it was this week, actually, but the whole thing's in Spanish. So I'm gonna,
gotta get the translator out.
100% gonna be trying to translate that here.
Well,
soon.
let me ask you this. Yesterday, when Vlad Golden had the news came out that he was hitting the portal, right? I quickly said, well, that guy's going to cash in on NIL. Then I was told in a DM by somebody who I know and knows what they're talking about, talked about the players from outside the country that were born somewhere else rather than the United States, that they're limited on what NIL money they can get.
Yes, correct.
And it's very confusing, but they're limited. So then I said, well, what about David Jones? And so I ask you, David Jones was born in the Dominican Republic. Now, I don't know if he has dual citizenship. I don't know if that even matters. But if he's limited on NIL, I don't understand why he would even contemplate staying.
No, 100%. I mean, that's the whole argument, right? Like, hey, if he, you know, goes to the NBA and is undrafted, gets on a two-way, like, he'd make, you'd think, less money than he would in NIL here at Memphis or elsewhere.
If it was a normal NIL.
Exactly. If it was a normal NIL with you know, U.S.-born player, U.S. citizenship, whatever.
Right.
Because last year they had to pay, you know, David Jones in the Bahamas. So that was, you know, a little bit different. Obviously, they had a foreign, or I'm sorry, in the DR it would have been in the foreign trip.
Right,
but,
right.
You know, this year they're not going to have a foreign trip, and Hawaii, obviously, for the Maui Invitational is a U.S. state, so that's not out of the country. You would think, though, that if David Jones, you know, says to Memphis, says to Penny, hey, I'd like to come back, then they'd work something out. I'm sure. You know,
again, I was sent the rules. They're the most confusing things.
Right.
That have you ever looked at those?
I've glanced at them, but it is confusing. Yes.
Okay.
So if he's on a two-way contract in the NBA, he's making $500 and something $1,000. You think Memphis can pay him more than that?
Probably at least match it, if not slightly exceed it. I'm sure. And I
don't know. I have no idea what their basketball NIL budget is, but do we know who was making the most last year?
You'd have to assume it was, you know, from all things
Quinterly?
that I'd heard, exactly, Javon Quinterly.
And do you have any idea, like ballpark, what that was that he's making?
It's hard to say. These things aren't public, so you hear different, and I'm sure you guys do too. You hear different numbers, and you don't know what to kind of run with. But from my understanding, it was, you know, JQ who was kind of the highest earner there. You know, Jordan Brown obviously in the mix, and it kind of.
Do you get a refund from that?
Probably no refund from that.
No
one,
discount.
No.
The question would be, what is the again? No, you don't know, and nobody knows like what the total budget is. And if you have to spend $600,000 or whatever on David Jones,
then what's left?
What's left for anybody else if you're trying to get anybody else?
I think, in a weird way, that may be good for Penny because he gets these. He gets these big eyes, and he wants to get a lot of guys who, like we saw it last offseason, that were alphas at their previous schools, and you know, those guys when they come in, they typically want a certain amount of shots in a certain role. Versus, hey, you build around David Jones, maybe you get him a sidekick
role
or
players,
exactly.
like they did 2 years ago with Davis and with Williams. Here's the thing, too, though. If you don't know what David Jones is doing, how can you determine what you use your NIL budget on? And again, technically, it's not Penny dishing out and doling out the money, right? It's the collectives.
100%.
Again, that's still confusing too. But as far as the money that goes to the players, what do? Do you hold on to a hunk knowing you? And then again, we go back to the foreign rules they just talked about. With I don't know how much that plays into David Jones. So again, I'm just reading it for the first time about the foreign players and Vlad Golden. I'm like, really? I had no idea.
No, I knew that, but I didn't know the ins and outs because it is obviously, like you said, confusing.
All right.
Yes,
it's really confusing. Stick around for our final segment. We'll talk about really. There's a couple of guys that still have to make a decision whether or not they're jumping into the portal. But other than that, it's pretty much an open roster. And then what about the coaching staff? Will we see moves with the coaching staff? Parthu Pajai joining us here on the program.
Mid-South Ag Equipment for all your equipment needs. Go see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment, located just south of Collierville on Goodman Road. Very easy to get to off of I-269. You take I-269 to the Goodman Road exit, and they're just a half mile west. They've got the Case IH Farm All series of tractors. They've got bush hog equipment, and they've got much, much more as well. All kinds of equipment you'll find on the lot there at Mid-South Ag Equipment. It's new equipment. There's pre-owned equipment. They can service your equipment, too. As we're getting to that time of year, folks are going to be getting out there, hitting the fields and getting things done. If you need to get that equipment taken care of before that, go see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment. You can also find them online, midsouthag.com, or you can check out their inventory, see any special deals they've got going on as well at Mid-South Ag Equipment.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Springtime is hot wing time, and time for the ultimate hot wing showdown at the World Championship Hot Wing Contest and Festival. Be there Saturday, April 20th at Memphis River Garden Park on Riverside Drive. See over 60 teams fighting for hot wing supremacy, along with live blues, soul, and rock and roll. All in support of the Ronald McDonald House. It's a sizzling day of fiery flavors, live music, and family fun, and you're invited. It's hot wing time in Memphis. Get your tickets now at worldwingfest.com. This is your delicious chance to make a difference.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Sheldon, we've worked together for over 20 years, and we have sold a lot of homes in that time.
That's right. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm with Melanie Simpson, and we're with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. Melanie, I've represented numerous buyers and sellers and always strive to do a good job for whomever I represent.
Sheldon, I know you do, except your golf game is horrible because you spend so much time taking care of your clients. I even heard that you tend to hit people with wayward golf shots.
Only 2 or 3 times, and they're all out of the hospital now. Like I always say, if you're thinking of selling a home, talk to 2 or 3 real estate brokers and make sure I'm one of them.
And if someone needs to fill up a foursome, don't call you?
That's right. And find out why people often say when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn.
You can reach Shell Dunn Rosengarten or me, Melanie Simpson, at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. That's 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. And
Go Tigers!
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Final few moments here of our program. Parth Upajai hanging with us. So, Parth, we know that Jalen Young and Jonathan Pierre hit the portal. Yep. We don't know about David Jones. We know that Jourdain said he's staying.
He said that, obviously.
Right, you had that.
At this point, more than a month ago, before the season even ended, he said it to Dave Voloshin after the East Carolina game.
That's right.
End of February. So I'm not saying he'll change his mind. I'm just saying he hasn't spoken this offseason yet, right?
Right. Everything with these guys certainly
I take
change.
it with a grain of salt. Yes.
Exactly.
Subject to change.
Sharon Font hasn't announced whether or not he's going to be back.
No.
And then Ashton Hardaway, I thought, it's Penny's son. He definitely will be back. But then I've heard things about, maybe homesick. He's out from California.
Yep.
So have we heard anything more on those two?
We have not. Kind of the same things you said that, Carl and Ashton were kind of up in the air, so to speak. But we have not heard them speak publicly. We have not seen them share anything on social media or even hint at anything on social media. So kind of a wait and see on them. David Jones, as we discussed in the last segment, we're not going to know about him until May, because late May is the deadline for early entries to get their name out of the draft process. So that's going to be a long wait there.
If the other two jump in the portal, you're talking about one guy that's back. If Jones says, he's going pro, it's Jourdain.
We don't know about Joe Cooper yet either. I mean, obviously that's a walk-on, but it was not your regular walk-on, a walk-on that's going to contribute. We just don't know if he's going to be back either. So you could be looking at a situation where you've got one returnee, maybe two. So
and last year there was being two, right?
Two, and you saw how that went. So it's going to be another steep hill to climb in terms of getting a new roster together and getting them to gel. And you would hope, if you're a Tigers fan, that Penny can do this before July, ideally, right? Before mid-July at least, so you have that time to kind of get these guys on one accord, which wasn't the case last offseason, of course.
No, it really hasn't been since he's been there. He gets a lot of guys in late. All right, last thing, coaches, assistant coaches. Do we know if there's going to be any changes, or is the staff expected all back?
Yeah, Rick Stansbury, obviously, as we know, as has been reported, that he will be back. Everyone else, it's kind of, from my understanding, a question mark, so to speak. I know I've heard, you've heard, we've discussed it off air that, there's expected to be, mass changes is the way it was phrased to me. What that means kind of is yet to be seen.
We don't know if it's coaches. We don't know if it's staff. We don't know if it's a combination, but we expect some things to happen.
We expect to be, not only the roster to look different, but like you said, the coaches and the staff and other personnel to look different as well. How different and kind of what that means when people say mass changes or a new look is something that, I'm anxiously waiting to see as well.
Well, I can tell you this. Penny kind of, has just gotten away from everything, and understandably so, after a long season, to kind of just chill a little bit. But maybe reality is setting in, too, as to how disappointing that season ended up being. Because, Penny would say things along the way that sometimes contradicted himself and all that. So maybe if there are changes, the guy now realizes that we are, now I'm not going to say desperate, but we're in a situation where it's a little bit dire.
Against the wall.
It's a little bit dire,
you cannot
right?
have another season like you had just this past season. If you're Penny Hardaway next season, it's not going to work.
It is going to be. I know for the last couple of weeks, Parth, you've had it where you can relax a little bit. Get ready, my friend. It will be another rocky,
I'm buckling up,
rocky ride.
Yep.
It always is.
So you're telling me that somewhere in the last few weeks, Petty realized he's not doing a great job?
Well, I don't know.
Greg, he's asking you.
I don't know if he thinks that. I don't know if he would admit that, but he's got to realize that there is a sense of urgency, like you said, with this
100%.
year's team.
100%.
And we're going to start to get that news about the portal guys and other players that haven't made decisions yet. That'll be coming up. Of course, Parth will have you covered over at the Daily Memphian. Make sure to follow him on Twitter as well. Thank you, Parth.
Appreciate y'all. Always fun.
Yep. Always great to catch up with you. Good luck to but the Purdue Boilermakers, your pick in the NCAA tournament. That will do it for us today. We want to thank our great guests, Parth Upadhyay, Seth Hennigan, Tigers quarterback, and University of Memphis Deputy AD Jeff Crane for joining us on the show. Tomorrow among our guests, Jerry Palm will join us from CBS Sports and CBSSports.com. We'll talk NCAA tournament. DeMichael Cole on the Grizzlies. Wallow and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next, so stay tuned for that. For Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.